Okay, let's see if this is working. Should be better. Okay, and seems like, yeah, the audio seems to be okay. We'll see if people can catch me up. So right now I'm just chilling and seeing if the stream settings are better than before. Mic is good. Okay, John, does it seem like stream is better? People were saying that it was buffering before, so like I restarted my PC, I restarted the routers and everything. We'll see if that helps. Me? I'm good. Yeah, we'll see if the mic is working. I'm doing good enough. Productive, but I just want more out of myself, you know, like, finished doing sessions today, and there's some left. There's about, like, 80 people more to serve. Like, the list is huge, but after that, like, I just want to get more out of it. So, I started working on, like, entity course, like, or entity removal course, just like trying to add as many techniques in one thing so that people could just use it and like help themselves more. Just like now I was trying to create tools rather than being the one who's gonna do all the work for people, but we'll see what happens. Also, can you hear me okay? Like, yeah, mic is good, you said. Okay. This should be better. Still testing things out. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I really want to do a lot in life, and even now, like, I get people, like, going, damn, I didn't even know you were doing sessions, I missed out and stuff, and there's a lot of people, like, wanting help, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, how can I help you? And then they tell me their source, I'm like, yep, that's the same old scenario where they want a lot and expect me to clear it out, but, like, I just can't. You know, you hear about, like, people being sacrificed for various rituals or like losing their jobs, and I'm like, yeah, I can give you tools, but you know, you got to find your own job or different things, like a lot to it. So we'll see. Hi, Marcelo. But yeah, what about you, John? You doing okay? Have you tried applying more of soul contract and George L methods? Thought about like if everything's okay, I could do like weekend workshops or just like dedicate the whole live stream to soul contract revocation. Just try to answer everything about soul contracts and guide everyone and do little exercises, or you know, just like do the whole method myself from beginning until the end and apply both like soul contracts and George L, and just like make sure like I like help others with like showing how it's all done, and just try to make sure like they get the best results out of it. So we'll see. Yeah, Starseed, like I'm not sure if you heard in the last stream, but like I received your email. I did not read it though. Radio stuff, huh? We'll see. Like I'm also look trying to learn more, but I don't know if I can like I'm definitely like far from knowing all. Like I barely know anything. So yeah. Anthony Joes, Waves, thanks for joining. Yeah, so is the stream okay right now? Like no buffering at all? So we're just checking. Santos, how are you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Okay, no buffering. Good, 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 good. Whew. Yeah, like, Elaine saying always inspiring messages. Good to know, Elaine. I was happy to help. Hello, my brothers. Hi, Framework. Good to see you here. Yeah, so, like, I'm working on, like, more of this, like, energy removal stuff, so that a lot of people, like, have issues with them, but I want to make sure that I'm not the one clearing it all out for you people, but, like, you all have abilities yourself. It's like, whatever I can do, like, getting out of body and, like, astral projection and clearing out stuff from people and all this stuff, each and every one of you can do that. Like, I am no special. I just sort of like, oh, I understand how it works and I'm able to use it, but all of you can do the same thing. So I want to make sure that, like, whatever I have, I share everything I know to help you get where I am. Not like I am perfect or anything, but so that you would just have more tools in your arsenal to help yourself and do what you want in life. Hi, Luigi. Luigi's saying, like, YouTube doesn't show my lives anymore, huh? No notifications. Not good, not good. But anyway, I'm glad you find me. Santa's is asking, like, what's the name of the place you mentioned where people see how you feel instantly? I've connected with them a lot and they're awesome. I don't really have a name for that place. Like, I know what it feels like, I know how it looks like, I know where to find it and all, but, like, just to call it, like, a place of, like, blah blah, like, I have no name for that. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you're getting there and you're actually seeing it for yourself, like, how you don't have to say anything, but they just, like, look at you and know exactly how you feel and also can sort of help you out, satisfy your needs and all. It's the place. Marcelo, yeah, I still have to do your sessions, but the thing is, like, I sort of, for a little while, discontinued giving sessions, which means you will get your sessions, but there is now no more, like, a button for you to buy them. I might continue that in the future. Like, I was surprised how many people actually sort of just found out that I'm doing sessions and were in need of help. So I'm like, damn, like, I don't feel like I can leave them all, you know? Like, it's like, oh fuck, there's so many people that need the help. So, like, I do plan to put it back and stuff in time. Maybe after the New Year's evening or something. Like, we'll see. Like, no promises. But I do want to work on creating more tools for all of you to use it and help yourself. So that'll come in time. But until then, like, I'm just sort of working on it a little bit at a time. John was saying, I love your classic Akvile empowering messages. Good. Yeah, like, if anything you might get from my stream, like, that's the only thing I want to do, like, empower all of you, because, like, with all this stuff going on in the world, people can get lost in all this, like, fears, worries, concerns, and the issues of life and everything, and if I can do anything, I would like to empower people. Thanks, John. Yeah, like, taking the break and actually, like, improving myself is something I really want to do. It's like, spending a lot of time giving sessions is important and helping out people, but, like, from that break, if I could just learn more, do more, and sort of, like, just bring back more tools, I really want that. Like, in newbies, like, I'm like, I changed my settings. My default settings is go there, like, wherever I end up, I'm gonna go and help out. So, like, for example, my physical body falls asleep, or, like, I just close my eyes, I fall asleep, and boom, I'm out of body already. It's, like, just in some sort of place. And I'm just gonna explore stuff. And try the whole explorations, like, you know, like, I get engaged in the wars and sort of, like, self-disclosure messages, like, with what's going on, and sort of getting bigger picture about the Earth, the entrapment, the soul traps, and other things. So, like, that's really interesting. And at the same time, it's like, right now I'm changing the settings of the default, like, wherever I end up, like, I'll just go from there into, like, trying to learn more. And specifically the techniques I can bring back here to help people, like, get through the vanities or other things. So, like, throughout my Ubis, I'm getting more of those experiences. Like I'm getting shown how it's done, the clearings and everything else. So like I just like definitely want to sort of like get it, digest it, put it in words to explain it to people, and see if that works for others. Oh, Waves is having a good like Waves has a good question. If we think about someone really hard before going to sleep, would there be any notice? As in, like, you think about the person before you go to sleep, and that person gets your message and sort of like, whoa, like maybe sees you in a dream or something. It's totally possible. One thing, if you're thinking, I would even suggest you try to either think or visualize the whole scenario. For example, if there's a person you like and want to be with, before you fall asleep and you're just laying in bed, just visualize a scenario where two of you are spending your time together. Maybe you're at the coffee shop drinking together and just talking and having a nice chat and getting to know each other. Maybe you're taking a walk together at the park. Maybe you're both driving in a car. And you're simply like, as you're laying in bed, allow yourself to visualize or think of that scenario with the person and create it as detailed as you want. Like literally spend the whole time creating every single detail, the conversation, the looks, the feeling to it, the like, you know, like just like how would holding that person's hand would feel and all this stuff. And literally you can fall asleep while being lost and thought about the whole thing, but you spend your time sort of creating that reality. Like let's say in your own realm, you're creating the reality with that person. And eventually, because you created it, part of their consciousness can actually pick it up like, wow, this is actually a really pleasant experience. And so you shift your timeline a little bit where you create that connection with another person. And in their timeline, the person can like literally stay and do their thing and not know you. But in your timeline, the person gets actually like, hey, I just sort of had this dream, or maybe like this thought of a person or whatever. So like if you both know each other, you might create more of the impact. If that person doesn't know you at all, you can actually have them meet you in a dream, and for them you're gonna be a stranger who makes them feel really good. Like literally I've had ubis where my physical body falls asleep and I'm out in the other world, and I have the experience where I'm like, damn, it's so freaking good that I don't want to come back. When I wake up, I am longing for that world. I'm longing for people I've met there. I'm longing for the relationships and everything. Like, wow, it was so freaking good. Like, the feelings there are more enhanced. Like, all this love and connection and then talking to people and everything else is much more empowering and everything else. And so literally like just getting back and sort of seeing them again makes me so happy. So like it's all real. So literally like you can think about the person and have them notice you and have them think of you, or literally sort of like see you in a dream. But if you do visualize the scenario, like for example, like you're just laying in bed and you're just thinking about like being with that person, and whether this you two are having conversation, whether you two like you're like, well, what if that person was here with me in bed? And you can go from being all nice and sort of interested in life and the relationships, or into like just like really going into them with the person, like whichever way you want. But as long as you have the good intentions of creating a relationship that would be good for both people, where you don't use the other, where you will like, you know, like don't have the like intention like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck you and like, oh, I feel good, like bye now. So like if you skip on those, it's gonna create like a really nice feeling about you for the other person, and they're gonna be like on a soul level, they're gonna connect to you. And if you meet in real life, or if you have a connection, like for example just chatting, all of a sudden they will change how they are with you. They will be more open, they will be more connected, because they feel that trust. Because while you were creating the scenario in your mind, sort of visualizing them, thinking about them and all this stuff, you're actually creating more bonds throughout, like with the consciousness, and so they will feel safer with you. So you can definitely make an impact. Ember Rex saying you're late. Nah, you're not late. we're just 15 minutes in, so like it's still the start. And you said like you wrote me an email. What's your email? Like I'm pretty sure like I got it. I wasn't answering many emails today, so like I might have missed on you or anything, but like let me know what like what's your email, or just like sort of resend it again to get off my top, and I'll get back to you soon. Dreambuzz, how are you doing, buddy? Okay, Anthony Jones is asking, Akvile, do black holes have the same physics in the astral as they do in this world's explanation of science? Because I don't think so personally, but I'd like to know your thoughts. Okay, so my thoughts are this. It's like, here in the physical universe, from what we know, we see things and we have like beliefs about them, or we basically study it a little bit, like, okay, so this is our understanding and we agree on this thing. And because like some people explain it scientifically and like sort of like, okay, this is official thing, the rest of the world like, oh, official thing. Yes, I agree that this is the thing. So like everyone else, like the whole population agrees that this is the way the world is, or this is the way, like let's say physics and everything else is. Because we're the beings that create the world from our thoughts, from our beliefs, from our agreements. When 7 billion people agree that like this is the thing, everyone creates it collectively. So here in the physical, we manifest collective rules and laws, but just in this one cluster. You live here, the physical universe, and you might go, let's say, to another galaxy, another place, different beings, and like find another black hole. And people there will use it as a portal. People there will use it as a storage place. People there will use it as something else. So the physics will be completely different because they believe differently about it. They have different rules. And so, you know, like the planets we have here, like, oh, well, it's gonna be roundish and it's gonna have the gravity and other things. And some planets will not have as much gravity and like blah, blah, blah. And they have like sort of their own beliefs about how it all works. You go into another place and the mountains and rocks are floating and there's the upside down cities, and like you're like, whoa, this is so cool, and everyone's flying and levitating and teleporting, and that is the normal, that is the way things are. This is like, why can't you fly? You know, like they would be weirded out if you couldn't do something. So like the physics are very different in certain worlds, and it's all about how people agree to it. So like when we go somewhere else, it's all about the belief system territory and the way people agree about things over there. And not necessarily that they have agreements, but because of their beliefs, they're like creating this place a certain way. And so you can definitely find black holes that have different physics, same as, you know, suns and everything else. So like everything you know right here on Earth can actually be very, very different somewhere else. So that would be my take on it. Like from my experience, like getting out of body and just seeing tons of different worlds, is like what we know here on Earth, or let's say Milky Way, or like whatever our officials say, like how things are like in the physics and stuff. It's very different in the multiverse, like different places, and like, you know, like you have to like actually rewrite absolutely everything because it's like completely different and opposite of what you knew here on Earth. Yeah, pretty much. Like, different spheres of influence with their own rules, limitations, physics on the topic and of black holes. Yeah, exactly. Elaine is saying, like, I desire a huge spaceship art studio. This is totally possible. You can totally do that. Like, you can find tons of spaceships which are like, I don't know, like 55 stadiums. It's just like massive. Like the whole spaceship of New York or whatever, or just take some size of in the world that you like, and you literally can manifest it and like go within, and it's all gonna be the spaceship of the cooking, and they're gonna have their own kitchens and like different foods, and it's not gonna be just the earthly taste. You can actually go and like taste something you never tasted, like what's the slimy thing is just dripping, like, yeah, like damn, and you can actually sort of like be surprised how good things are over there. So you can totally like find like cooking stuff, art studios, musical places. Literally, there are spaceships. There are like boom boxes where they just fly throughout the space and sort of like beaming the music all over the place, so just like trying to attract musicians. So they would create the music, and now when people like come over to that spaceship and try to like playing their own music, they're sort of like beaming it out to everyone else, and some of that music is used for healing. So literally, the spaceship can be flying throughout the multiverse, and just beaming that music, and it's literally the sort of like changing the vibration, and people start doing much better, just like sort of like to do minding their own business, and you hear him in the music, and like boom, all of a sudden like feeling much better. So like it's totally a thing. Like it's a blast how much good of this stuff is out there. Alex, yeah, like when it comes to Zeus, I see it more like a was it like and Lilith thing. Like and Lilith's one of those like into like just creating. Wait, and Lilith's like a thing like into that like DNA changing and all this stuff, but like destroying others and all those like thunder and like beaming and all this stuff. It does happen. Like like he's using it a lot of that technology, and so there's a lot like that a new or like Anunnaki where depending on their name it has to be short like Anu or Zu or Zuzu, but like Zuzu ended up being Zeus, and like it's actually sort of like just different beings with their names, but like it's just Anunnaki taking the god like names and all the stuff. So yeah, I don't see them as good beings because they're like pretty much into suppression and killing and all this stuff. Jawaz has a good question, saying, I'm currently working on emitting love fields in general that people can detect and feel comfortable around. Do you do something similar? And also, any tips on how to increase my love energy? Yeah, it's a really good thing to do. And like one of the things I used to do myself, like I started like from one person at a time. For example, like okay, like, so this is the person I like or admire or just like I want to connect with, and I would end up meditating. But my meditation would be simple. Like it's like I was sort of combining a little bit of like let's say Hinduism and my own take. Hinduism, I think, like well, with Hindus, and I cannot portray their religions or their beliefs very well. It's just from like a little like few concepts that I got. I think like they have this thing called Murti, Murtia. I think like well, like whatever. But anyway, they literally take like the picture, or let's say they choose a person and they think that like there's another one of their gods incarnated into a human form, and now they literally can put it like just like take a picture of the person and like make their own little shrine at home or whatever, and now they're gonna be like sort of like devotee of that person, believing that they're the god or whatever. So literally you can say like Paul McCartney or like whatever, like she was like, oh, it's a god like this, and sort of like literally so whatever. But anyway, like they end up sort of like having their own little shrine place at home of a person, whatever, whoever they are. So it's your own choice, really. And you end up sort of like, you don't have to pray or anything, but you can sort of just meditate and them like loving energy, whatever. So like you can literally choose like a person you know or random people, and simply focusing either on one or a group, you sort of like, okay, you have a picture of them, and while visualizing, you sort of like visualize their whole body. You can literally clear out any darker spots, and sort of you're making them feel better because you're clearing out the negativity and all this stuff. But once you're done with clearing, then you can load up their body with all the good feelings and just like love and healing and this empowerment and like all the stuff, and like they wake up and they feel much better. So that's like would be one person at a time thing. From then I took over to like, let's say, walking in the street, and while I'm walking I just create this massive bubble. So like let's say my bubble would be just like sort of like around me, But as I would be walking, I'm like, I'm gonna expand this bubble to, let's say, a radius of 5 kilometers, or let's say 10 miles, if that's better for you, or like, like just choose my own radius. How much am I gonna take in? Is it gonna be like a whole city, like a whole country? How much will my sort of like bubble of energy will reach out? So literally, can make this massive all around the Earth. You can make it like more than the Milky Way. Like literally, every single step you take will be beaming out this like massive energy. And while you do this, your whole energy will be filled up with how you're feeling, and that will like sort of like when you are walking, others will walk in your space. So with that, you fill up your whole bubble with love, or just like feel good emotions and stuff. And like while you're walking, you're literally burning the entities, or sort of like just getting rid of them from their own space. And at the same time, they get in your space and they get filled up with the good feelings. So like, you're not getting drained as much as just sort of empowering everyone else. So that would be like a thing you can try out as well. And basically, to increasing your love energy, I would start just like with yourself, and maybe contacting some beings like you trust, or simply setting out some rules. Just like asking someone to show you the real love, like the real deal. Because literally, you can have this dream, and you will meet a being who's gonna like come to you and just overflow you with love to the point where you're crying because it's so blissful. Like it's just like really overfilling you. So like you can literally have this connection and sort of like get the understand like, wow, that's love. And when you come out of it, you know what it feels like. So you literally put it within yourself and you empower others with that too. So that would be something to try out if that answers your question. Starseed is asking like, how do you remove something that will cause damage to another person if removed? It's really weird concept, because you have to understand the other person. Like, let's say, depends who you're working with and what kind of issues they have. Like, how do you know that exactly that thing is causing them pain, and how do you know that removing it will actually hurt? For example, like a lot of people, like when the whole thing with soul contract started, they were like, no, if you remove other people's agreements, you'll hurt them. Don't do that. Like you're gonna fuck them up. And they did not understand it. Like, you're like, let's say you can remove their agreements, but on their own timeline, they can have their issues. On your timeline, you remove their agreements, you remove their issues, and they change. So on your timeline, you meet a person who's doing much better. And the person who had issues and maybe didn't want their things removed stays on their own timeline. So like, you just shift timelines where that person is doing better. So like, depends on what it is really. Like, really depends on how's the person affected, and like more details would be good, because don't try to harm other people if that's not what you're into. But yeah. I am Yahweh is saying, Akvile, can the appearances of our physical body be changed or healed instantaneously here in the physical universe, and the shape-shifting to any being possible in the physical universe? Okay, so like when it comes to physical universe, we're talking about, let's say, as in like, if I understand you correctly, or if I understand your question, let's say here in the physical world, because of all the agreements and stuff, it's not gonna work, and you would have to use, like, let's say, surgeries and other things, and like, yeah, you're gonna have some physical changes here. But let's say your physical body is here, but you do get out of body. So you're still in the physical universe, but you're using all the abilities and everything else, and then, yes, being in the physical universe while being out of body, you can change your appearances, you can change your body any way you want, you can heal it, and literally, you can do astral surgeries. You can do, like, let's say your physical body might have some issues, so you get out of body or you get like into the astral, and you're doing the astral surgery where you take your astral body and do some healing work on it, or like just do some like surgeries, and like we're like, okay, there's some like bad stuff, so you cut yourself, like take it out, like sew it up, and there's gonna be like no blood popping out or anything, but it's more like, you're just doing this energy work, and literally once you clear out yourself, or like you do this astral surgery on yourself, you put that astral like body back in your physical, and now the astral body is like our second body. So like any kind of energy work you do will be an overlay and will bleed through. So literally that can help you out, and you will feel some changes, and like hopefully that answers the question. Ali is asking, hey Akvile, are there like break-off civilizations of our aliens that made a spaceship planet? Yes, there are plenty of planets who are like spaceships. Looks like a planet, like, yeah, looks nice, but you go inside and it's actually a whole massive colony of billions of people within, and it's actually amazing. It's actually amazing. So like there's plenty of those. Luigi has a good question. So, if the meaning to live this illusion is to come back to the original source where everyone came from, what is the meaning of living all this infinite journey in your opinion? Okay, so like, let's say, as a consciousness, we split up to tons of different aspects to experience life, and we end up like identifying with whatever, and sort of like over identifying and forgetting this like source, and like forgetting everything. Because like, let's say, a lot of people, you might watch a movie, you might play a game, you have this experience where you love it so freaking much, you wish you would forget absolutely everything about it to experience it again. And that is very common. Like, we have lives where from the moment we like our life began, like I want to say born, because not in every life you're born. You literally can just like wake up and like boom, you open your eyes and you have a body, and like that's all. Like just like you don't have to get birth and just grow from a kid to like a grown up or anything. Like it's not always a thing, but simply starting your life somewhere to the point of the end where either you want to leave or your body drops dead or whatever. Like tons of variations of how life can happen, but you have this experience which is like tremendously awesome. You're like, damn, this is the best thing I've ever experienced again, and you want to do it again. So like you literally are playing it again, but you're like, hey, well, I knew this would happen. I actually want to do it again, but like not remember anything to have all the fun. And you cause yourself to forget about things, and like boom. So like we have those parts where we ourselves try to cut off the memories to enjoy the experience again. And that's like, okay, that's totally fine. But to the point where sometimes we can do it accidentally, sometimes we just like redo it too much, and we might harm ourselves. But like, let's say we end up forgetting everything going here on Earth, and we're experiencing things, and we like sort of like end up realizing, hey, well, I remember that we all came here from one consciousness, and like our goal is to sort of like put ourselves back together, to not be all split apart and stuff, and just get back to the source, or like get back to where we all began. And so trying to come back to this experience, not all of us have the same goal. It's more like you might have a goal like, yeah, like I actually want to come back to the point where I had all the knowledge and I just sort of like was experienced and everything else. But the consciousness is all about experience. The consciousness is like all about like, okay, that's the thing, and let's experience it. So even if we, let's say, went back to this whole consciousness or the source of whatever you want to call it, and let's say back to the original place, right? Back to the original thing that we started as. It's all about the experience, because the consciousness wants to experience things. So sort of like infinite journey, and like what's the meaning to all of it? Experience. It's simply that. Understanding and sort of feeling things. And some of us like wants to enhance it, some of us wants to try out new things and just like exploration. So literally experience is the point. So that would be my answer. How far can you go in the astral? Asks, like Christopher's asking. Okay, so like in the astral, no limits. Like really depends on the actual like places. That's the thing like about like getting out of body and astral projection. Like astral projection sort of like is limiting you only to the astral. So you're on a certain frequency. Let's say you're sitting in the car listening to the radio, or you might be watching TV. At any point in time, you can choose another channel or station. So having like out of body experience means that you can actually go from one station to another and experience all the possibilities. When you're just astral projecting, you're on one station. And you can listen to tons of different songs, see tons of different movies, but you're currently on one station. If you switch it differently, you go out of body to go to different places and just experience much more than that. When it goes to the astral, it's limitless. Literally, people in the astral keeps creating their own realms, keeps expanding it. So like literally, it is infinite and never ending. People keep creating more, and it's not just humans who get out of body and do that stuff. It's not just those that like have left and like are living in the astral, but plenty of beings have their own consciousness. They can create that, like not even humans, just like they're there. So no limits. Same with out of body, limitless. It's not like it has walls and like it's like structured. Like okay, this is the end. You can't go further than that. Like, if that was your question. J1 is asking, is there a Galactic Federation? Yes, there is. Yes, there is a Galactic Federation, but they're pretty much like scammers. Like, from my experience, they're just like a bunch of people who want to... Sort of like, it's all about deception and control and other things. And it's funny, I was planning to make a video today, or like, thought about it. Recent articles were like, I think like people from Israel, like ex-ufologists and stuff like that, they have been in contact with the Galactic Federation, and like all the Galactic Federation is basically like, well, yeah, we can unite humanity and stuff, but humans are not ready for alien disclosure, so we're not gonna do that. Yeah, humans are not ready. And it's like, shut the fuck up, come on. It's like, like, one thing is like Galactic Federation and like uniting humans. There are no aliens that will come here and save us. Like, the belief in like, they're like, oh, aliens are gonna come and save us all. It's like, it's a bullshit story. So basically, these people are like hopeful and like, oh, things will be good. And fire is everywhere, but like, things will be good. So like, just like, it's a crap. It's a crap story. Like, they will not come and save you. It's not gonna happen. It's not like they're gonna land their ships and everyone's gonna be united and everyone's happy and stuff like that. It's like a crap story of just like, don't do anything and just be hopeful and just stay in that place. But they do exist. Galactic Federations do exist. It's just like a bunch of other factions with their own interests, and they're not necessarily good for the humanity, even though they might say that. So yeah. Starseed is saying, some people, yeah, said if I get help, okay, like, okay, if they help me get bad astral stuff off, it'll hurt me. Is it true depending on what it is? Now, as a thing, like, the astral body on any means should not feel pain. If it's painful, you are in the lower astral. So you literally can do tons of work on yourself and your body will never be in pain. Experiencing pain in like out of body or in the astral should not be a thing. You literally have to go to places where it's super limiting to the point where, like, let's say it's in the astral but so close to Earth that like it's very little difference, and you might feel the pain, but not when people are helping you. It's like you're gonna be harmed or like something's bad's gonna be done for you to feel pain. So like, I'm not buying the story. I've never experienced such a thing, and throughout all the people I have talked to and everything like out there, I've never heard of such a thing. So, because of my inexperience or haven't come to this sort of thing, I'm not going for it. But maybe if I'm come to this sort of thing, like, oh yeah, people are helping and they get hurt, because I haven't experienced it, I can't go there yet. So, nah. Hi Zach, good seeing you here. Yuri's asking, do you think the moon is a mobile base? Well, from my experiences, or like let's say getting out of body and going like within the moon and checking it out, I've seen some bases. So yeah, I would go with it. I would go with like what David is saying and all that. John West has a really good question. So he's saying like, I'm big on respecting one's free will. And when I want to send love energy at being's heart, do you need consent from them, or do I view it like shift myself to the reality that they're okay with it? Yeah, it's basically view it as shifting your reality where they are okay. This is exactly like when I'm doing my work, when I'm clearing out the entities, when I'm doing anything else, when I get out of body to destroy all those bases or like let's say take care of things, I am clearing things out on my reality. I'm clearing everything out in my own universe. So let's say I'm helping you in my own universe, and I just sort of destroy this massive base of beings that were targeting you. And in my universe, your aspect, is no longer affected by this base. But in your own universe, you still might have it. So I'm making sure like I'm clearing everything, and in my reality, wherever I am right now, all the people I'm helping, at least here, they get better. But at the same time, in their own reality, things might be different. So like I'm constantly sort of shifting to the place where everyone gets better, but in my own universe, because they have their own universe and they might feel completely different. All those things still might exist, and sort of like I'm sort of like changing everything in this one little radius or box or whatever you would call it. Marcelo has a good question. So, if one person believes the laws of physics are different than the rest of the people, this person will experience these laws. Or this person will experience the laws the collective is manifesting. It's gonna be a bit of both. Let's say a person, just take him from, I don't know, the part of the world where he was living, let's say in Aboriginal village, for example, has no knowledge about the physics, about how the world works, and goes into the city for the first time, and just tons of different things, like, why are the planes flying? I've never seen such a thing. Like, I know the birds, but that is, like, a weird thing, and, like, what is that? Like, it was sort of, like, tons of different concepts and stuff. So, because of what you see, you do experience. And you might not necessarily agree to things, like let's say, oh yeah, like people can fly, people can fly, people can fly, and it's totally possible. And you're not going with gravity and like we have to like sort of like only walk and stuff. And you might not go for the beliefs, but because you're living in a place where collectively tons of people are agreeing to it, you're gonna sort of stick to it. So literally, when you change your beliefs, you're gonna shift in the different reality where things are a little bit different. Your beliefs can be completely different. And with that, you will sort of shift the reality. Like the Matrix, there is no spoon Neo, so you shift into the reality where things are different and where you actually might get closer to experiencing all those things that you don't agree with, and that would be the thing. But yeah, it's a massive concept because like let's say yeah, you strongly agree that you can fly, that like telekinesis and everything else is possible and all this stuff. But at the same time, because of what you're seeing here, and with tons of people going against you, like with their own beliefs, it is actually just like constantly sort of like reminding you, like, hey, things are different, and sort of like within the subconscious or like deep within, you're adapting yourself, or you're like like yeah, I know flying is possible, but and it's kind of like trying to win a lottery ticket. You believe in yourself, but deep within you doubt yourself because of all the times you have failed and all the times it didn't work. So it's a thing. It's a hard subject. Andromeda is saying, I've never heard you talk about subconsciousness or unconsciousness. You haven't heard, like, you haven't watched enough of my videos then, I guess. Because I did mention those topics quite a bit, I think. You ready for the movie Soul? What's that? Like, what kind of movie is that now? Katy Perry was saying like I should do the Zoom meeting. I was sort of thinking about that. I was thinking about like let's say weekend classes where I teach people some of the techniques I know. So just like let's say we take a few hours or whatever, and just from A to Z, just having a group of people learn with me and just trying to help you out as much as possible. Would be a thing. We'll see. Okay, so Starseed is like clearing things up. So she's on Discord, and when she's talking to people, some of them are saying that it might hurt Starseed if they do the energy work while removing the energy snare things. So like I think like it's more of their assumptions. It's like I've never come to the let's say concept where I'm doing my energy work, it'll give you pain. I never thought of it as the thing. But one thing I know, like, let's say I do the work on you and I clear your entities, and all of a sudden you're doing better. The only way I can say that you're gonna be hurt is that because you are getting better, because you are breaking away from the case and you're becoming free, you are becoming more targeted. It's like each and every one of you, you're like a prisoner in this earth, in this physical body. You're like godlike being who's imprisoned. Whenever you're getting better, whenever you're breaking free, you're breaking free from the prison of the mind, of the body, of the world. And once you're breaking free, you're getting the freedom, you're getting your powers back. Those who are in this prison don't want you getting better. They don't want you escaping. So it is to be expected that when you're working on yourself, when you're receiving help, when you're getting better, you will encounter some of the challenges in life where you might feel really good one day and next day it's smash, and all of a sudden you feel heavy, you're like you lose your motivation, you might feel depressed, you might feel tired and exhausted. It is to be expected. They don't want you breaking free of this prison. So this would be like the only attacks or ways to hurt you. I haven't heard of the energy work that would actually cause pain while doing it, but I'm very inexperienced, so I don't know. Different people, different methods. I am Yahweh is saying, Akvile, if reptilians are not the most violent race, which race of the beings is the most violent that you have encountered? Anunnaki canine are some of them. They're pretty vicious. They're kind of like, not all of them, but some of them. Again, like, we're talking not about the races specifically, as in the groups. Let's say we have reptilian race, but like here on Earth, are humans good or bad? Are humans a loving race or they're a bad race? And you're like, well, I know people who are really loving. Akvile is trying to give us tips every once in a while when she's on live streaming, but I've heard of this person who's a pedophile and into so human sacrificing. So are humans bad or good? Well, it really depends on people. So let's not view the races the same way. Well, like all reptilians are bad or violent, or all Anunnaki canine are bad or violent. No. It's literally some of the groups within the race will act certain ways. We heard of, let's say, groups of reptilians who are, let's say, all into the intelligence, and they might be super in love with science. They might be super in love with learning and just getting better, just like trying to just like apply all of their skills, because like reptilians have this massive intelligence. And not all of them will be into control and domination and taking over. So like there will be groups of reptilians who might meet you and like be like, hey, are you interested in science? Because, and they will like show you all the newest gadgets, and like we'll look at your reaction and like we'll see if you're interested and if you want to play, and that'll be fine. But there will be other groups of reptilians who might look at you and they're like, what a chicken, pfft, let's kill him. And so like they will see you as a food, they will see you as like just like an ant, and eventually, you know how like throughout everyday life you literally are walking on the street and you're not even thinking about ants, like as if they don't exist. And so you're living in a place where they're just little pests that like don't even like concern you. And so like there are plenty of beings who might look at us that way, you know. But at the same time, like I mentioned Anunnaki canine. I started talking about it, but like I want to make sure like I don't talk bad about all of them. I saw groups who are very loving, who have like really big virtues and like values in the family. They're all about like connecting and being like strong as together as a family and making sure like everyone's safe and protected. They're not into killing and domination, like at least the specific group I saw, but like they were all into like making sure that like everyone in the group is satisfied and is doing okay. And like they're more into let's avoid fighting, let's avoid anything else, and just stay together. But I've seen others who are like literally into killing off and slaughtering off everyone because it's fun. So again, it's not about the race as much as certain groups. And to blame someone, it's like AI would be another thing to mention. But I've seen good AIs. I've seen the AI just like working really hard to make sure that there are certain places in the universe like where people there are always safe. It'll count everything. It'll like look at all possibilities and make sure like people are always safe, always fed, and always doing good, and will do everything to help others. So while we might have some into the destruction and taking over, there are those who are helping. So like I really can't say which race is the most violent because it's literally the groups, just the groups of beings. Which entities control Earth? There are tons of different factions. Tons. We have a little bit of like reptilians and a bit of Anunnaki. Tortoise beings, a bit of AI and stuff like that. Like there's tons of factions, but there's not like one main and stuff like that. So like there's constantly someone new coming in. It's like you're playing the game, and the more you expand, the more you get noticed. So it's always a thing. But there's a lot. I'm looking at this comment of Sarsis like saying like I can't feel anything anyways when people are doing stuff with me and just like getting rid of entities and all this stuff. And yeah, like I'm looking at this and that's the thing, like Starseed, like at this point, if no matter who's helping you, you can't feel anything, you really are at this point where like you have to clear out the space, or like let's say, how would you tell a difference? How would you tell a difference if a person worked on you and you felt difference? What would be different if certain things got removed? How would you feel? Because right now, a lot probably like has to do with your beliefs and everything else. And like I sent you sessions with things I did, and I'm not sure like did you feel anything? Did anything got better and stuff? It's a thing. So like you would have to define things because like literally like it's like trying to explain out of body for a person who doesn't even believe he has a soul. It's like it's just not gonna work. Alex is asking, Akvile, do you care to share your greatest challenge you faced and how you overcame it? Good one, good one. I'm totally into it. Like I can answer, but I just have to look through my life and try to locate one of those greatest challenges. Cause like, I don't think it was like really challenging for me, or that my life has gone to these stages where like, oh yeah, I had this massive challenge and this is like really worthy like to share. But what do I know? Like maybe something small that was a big deal for me is actually a thing that can actually help others. So like I don't know. Good question. I like really have to take like some time to reflect throughout my life and like see what I can find. Okay, so like I'm looking through things, and probably, let's say, for me the impossible was, let's say, getting another person in my life that seemed to be against all odds. And at the same time, that would be like one person and one thing. But another thing is like escaping from this surroundings that seem to be like really harsh. I sound like living in a place where like being programmed or like living with beliefs that my opinion and who I am means absolutely nothing. Like living in a family where, oh yeah, I want this thing, and family's like, yeah, cool, but they're gonna get you completely the opposite thing. And living where, like, your wants or needs are not understood, and so like no matter how much I would try to communicate it, it wasn't a thing ever. So like living in the surroundings where like I didn't felt alive, and more like felt constantly like I'm just like not fitting in, like it's just like didn't felt like I'm living. Felt like I'm trying to survive or existing, but like didn't felt like I'm alive or anything. So with that, probably that was the greatest challenge. Like living in a place where I constantly felt suppressed, where I didn't have the freedom to do what I wanted, and I lived under the beliefs where I'm not good enough, where I can't talk, where I don't matter, where whatever I have to say is not a thing. So that would be probably the biggest thing for me. And throughout that, how I overcame it is I was looking through every single step that came throughout my life, and specifically to that thing. I feel like just like seeing like how life is bad and that I have absolutely nothing left. That in the end, like no one gives a fuck. I'm completely alone, and no one else is gonna fix it for me. Like I've been to the point where I've been suicidal, where I've called tons of people, where I've called the therapist and psychologist, and I've been online to these places where just like, come on, just like help me, and like no matter what other people would say, just like no, like literally, people, like when I came to for help and tried to like ask, like like hey, please help me, just like listen to me, they would not understand the concept completely. They would like try to give me advice. It's like, okay, yeah, just do this, then don't do that. And I'm like, that's not, it's not working. Like, listen, listen, this it's like different than you think or believe what I'm saying. So for me, like that was the hardest part. And like eventually I hit a point where it's complete crap. Like I can't do anything, and it was like really like fuck life. Like I went to the point where I was overdosing or like trying to overdose on ibuprofen, and like literally ate like 60 pills of ibuprofen. I'm like, okay, it's just not working. Like I read like it should be a bit more than you weight, or like one pill is like 1 kilogram. So since I weighted 50, I had to take 50 pills, but then plus, so like I literally took 60 ibuprofen, and I'm surprised that after everything I took, I was like okay. Because, like, I took it, and then I'm like, oh, fuck, what have I done? And I was, like, scared, and I was trying to throw up, but it just didn't work. I wasn't brave enough to go, like, shove my fingers deep enough to actually throw up or anything. And I went to the point where, like fuck, my kidneys and everything else, like, everything I took will fuck me up. So, like, I was afraid of my life when I did it. Like, I was like, what dumb kid. But, after that, I was just sort of, like, trying to, like, let's say, it took me a bit of time to recover from this sort of, like, panicking hysteria, so, like, what the fuck is going on in life and all this stuff. But after like a little bit of the recovery, and everyone who either didn't give a fuck or just misunderstood me and all this stuff, I was basically trying to find a way, like how do I live? How do I cope with all the losses and everything else? How do I just try to survive? And ended up like trying to look for people who had this knowledge. So like just like sort of like isolating myself from absolutely everyone. Like all the time I could spend by myself, I would go for it. Sort of disconnecting from everyone I knew. Like all the classmates, all the supposed friends and family, and like all the relatives and people I knew, just sort of like I just isolated myself completely and spent all the time sort of by myself as much as I could, and try to listen to people who'd be, let's say, inspiring. So for me that would be like I started with Tony Robbins, because like at first when I listened to Tony Robbins I didn't like him. I was like he has a weird voice, he's like really big, just like I don't know how I know. And so like at first, like, I knew he was a good person, or, like, it seemed like he's a good person, but I just could not connect at any point. But after a few years and, like, all the shit I was going through, I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna listen to it. And just listening to it, like, okay, like, I sort of, like, started shaping different beliefs, and, And also like, okay, just gonna try things out. And I learned about like 6 basic human needs, about how everything works, and I'm just sort of like one step at a time, from being completely broken, from being or feeling like I'm a useless piece of shit who can't do absolutely anything, and life is like crap. And that was like 2 years ago. That was probably 2 years ago. Like before I started YouTube, that was the biggest crash point where like I just burned and just wasn't nothing. And so with all that, like I started like learning, okay, little bits of a time. I have absolutely confidence. I have nothing, and I started like from listening to Tony and actually trying to apply some of his material, and starting from growing confidence, which ended up being little things throughout the day which will make me feel like I'm winning in life. So literally making my bed, literally making up a cup of tea, like setting it as a goal and doing it and feel like, hey, I actually did it. I actually achieved something. So like literally making super small things to build up to where like I feel better. I feel like I'm not useless. I don't feel tired all the time. And with all that, I sort of like, okay, like found more people. There was like Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Les Brown, Lewis House, Tom Bilyeu, Gary Vee, and all this stuff. And like with Gary, even like he was like probably like the one of the last people I saw. That was sort of like the setting point for me to actually like start living. But like again, like when I came across Gary Vaynerchuk, I did not like him. I was like, well, he has good messages, but man, does he seem like really aggressive and like seems like an asshole. It's just like calling everyone names. Like, I don't know, I don't like the guy. But a few videos later, I'm like, damn, he's good. Like, I really like his material. And sort of the more I watched, the more I felt like, like he's actually really good. And it basically ended up being into understanding who am I as a being, how to work, like all the things that I've been programmed with. I tried to sort of deprogram myself. I try to sort of get through the follow the limits where, like, it doesn't matter if my opinion does not matter to them. It doesn't matter if, like, how they think of me and everything else. So I felt like I'm just gonna plug out of everyone, like, sort of, like, just completely isolate myself and just try to take as much time to deprogram and reprogram myself to get through the follow the limiting beliefs I've had. And I was like a little bit of that, like anti-removal and stuff, or like let's say soul conscious removal. But that was just like a very thin part. The main stuff without like spiritual was actually working on myself physically, trying to understand my mind, trying to understand like I can't affect people in any way. I can't control them. I can't change them. I can't do absolutely anything. The only thing I can do with people is influence them. And if I want to make an influence, I have to work on myself first. And that was a setting point where like, okay, understand others, understand like my basic needs, their basic needs. And I started like watching, like I started listening, like I was a listener, so like just sitting in front of the people while they're having kind of conversation, I'm just paying attention now to what they're saying. It's like I always listen to what they're saying, but now I'm like paying attention not just to what they're saying, but how they are. And I started seeing what are they afraid of? What do they lack? How do they feel within? And noticing those like parts within themselves that they were actually afraid. They were actually living in fear. They were living in lack. They were living in other places. And I'm like understand like, yeah, that person is actually missing so much. And being able to ask certain questions that got them talking, all of a sudden certain people who were really not good for my life ended up really respecting me. And sort of building that up, I was able to change a lot of my relationships with others, and sort of like to the point where like I felt more comfortable. And with all that, I pushed myself to the point where like I wanted to start a YouTube channel because like let's say talking to Rich and stuff, I showed up on his YouTube channel a few times, and I was amazed that people were actually interested in that. Like, hey, they had a question for me and stuff like that. So it's like I was like, damn, this is so good. Like how do you say it? I mentioned this before, but like when I was talking to Rich and like I started like watching him when he basically was building up to 2,000 people, like subscribers, I felt like, like, damn, I'm so jealous of him. He has all these people that love him, that care for him, all these friends and stuff like that. And so just like, I always felt alone. And like I could not find people that I related to, or like I was always sort of abandoned and like just had these like tons of the abandonment issues that I'm not good enough and shit like that. And with all that, I like just seeing someone being interested in me, someone like, hey, Rich, let Akvile talk, or like, hey, Rich, do Akvile has her own channel and shit like that. I'm like, whoa. So to see people like ask questions of me, I felt like this is my chance. And like I had to go through a lot of this fear of starting the YouTube channel because like all of a sudden, especially in my family, it is like don't ever do things that would disgrace your family. And so like everything that's within the family stays within the family. You were always to be the same, and I was to step out of the family zone where they accept you as like, oh yeah, you're a good person, and now I was gonna go be completely the backseat of the family. So it's not like I wasn't before, but this is like I was going against everything they wanted. It's like never do something shitty on the internet, or like never show off and stuff like that, and I was gonna go do it. And so I had to go over my fears, like, like just like afraid of what people will think, afraid of like what my family will say, and I had to like sort of like just like, hey, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. You like it or not, I'm gonna do it. And so like having like building up the courage and doing it, and then sort of ending up to the point where I was learning, and that was mainly the physical changes, not the spiritual work where, I mean, like, changes spiritually, I was growing, but I wasn't doing the spiritual work where, like, I'm, like, let's say, revoking my agreements or removing entities. That was, like, mainly working with my psychology, my emotions, like, all the stuff I've been doing through in life, as in, like, trying to sort of, like, deprogram myself fully. So all this journey to the point where I have, again, 2,000 people, like, on my, like, YouTube following me, and each of you and everyone, like, right now here watching my videos and, like, my streams, for me, it means the world. Like, each and every one of you, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Like, if it wasn't for your curiosity, for you asking my questions and stuff, I wouldn't be here. So, like, literally, I don't know, like, I probably never tell you enough, or I just don't find words to say how much you mean to me, because you give me this tremendous thing to do in life. To be able to share something, to realize, like, oh my god, I have something to give. I feel important. I feel like I'm something. I feel like I have a goal or something to do. And it's because of you. It's because you have questions. It's because you feel, or like you make me feel like I actually can do something for you. And so like, that's probably like my, like, like to answer your question, Alex, it's just probably like my bigger, like, or like greatest challenge is to overcome everything I've been through in my life. Like all this family programming, all the losses. Like I really fell to the point where like from suicidal into I love living and I want to help others. So that's my story. There's probably like a bit more details and stuff like that, but like I'm just like, I don't know, I'm amazed how far I've gone. I'm proud of myself, and I want to do everything I can to help out others. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, Nick Torres is asking, like, what resources of Earth do they want? And I believe we're talking about the entities who are curious or, like, interested in taking over Earth and all this stuff. So if it was to that, subject, what sources, or, like, what resources of Earth do they want? Like, these alien, like, other ETs and stuff? That would be, like, I would mainly sort of, like, say, it's harvesting humans. Because, like, well, there's a few things to it. Like, there's a loosh, like, our energy that's being, like, sucked out, like, every single day. They're using it to empower their technologies, their worlds, and sort of create other things. And it's like, our creativity, our consciousness, we have tremendous power. And so when we fall asleep, and they're using our creativity to create these worlds, for example, like, how do you say it? We're living a life where there's so much stuff happening, to the point where, like, okay, life is really bad, but we just wish for a better tomorrow, and we end up sort of fantasizing, imagining a better day, a better scenario of something happening. And so when that happens, these ETs, or some of the guys out there, they see, like, the worse we do, the more hopeful or faithful we get, which is, like, they end up trying to cause us more damage, so that we would try to create a world. And basically, whenever we fantasize, like, oh, just a wonderful beach where I'm just chilling and it's warm and stuff like that. So you just sort of create a scenario that makes you feel good, and you're done. But the thing is, everything you think about and you visualize and you imagine, you manifest it. Somewhere throughout the multiverse, you create this little realm. And so these beings literally get to go in your realms and check these things out. At the same time, when you go to sleep, all these dreams we have, let's say they will sort of put an overlay of what we will remember after we wake up throughout the night. Or like, let's say we had tons of experience throughout the night, and then we wake up like, oh, I remember. And all things we remember will be fake and like pointless dreams, tons of crappy, scary stuff. and you're like, where's the real stuff? Did I really just like dream up all this crap, and why? And actually, throughout the night, you were actually sort of like exploring and learning and like meeting people that love you. But throughout the whole thing, they were trying to cut out those parts and use your creations or like your experiences for their own, while you get the crappy stuff. So there's that. So like literally harvesting our imagination, our creativity, our illusion stuff is like one little thing, and then there's the whole intergalactic trading where humans are actually being sold off. So like all of those, like, let's say people going missing, kids going missing and stuff like that. There's a lot of like pedophilia and stuff going on, but there's also like people are being captured, and let's say the plasma, the blood, the gold within us and all the stuff, like they're just like harvesting us, selling us out, like let's say taking the physical body, shipping off like in other worlds and just selling us off and stuff like that, or simply capturing us humans like while we were here alive, and all of a sudden they're gonna use our consciousness to be like a super soldier, stuff like that. It's funny, like while I'm talking I'm getting this headache right here, and I know it's a good sign because some people are like, oh, shut up, and I'm like, no. So there's that. But yeah, like there's a lot of like groups interested, and like there's a lot of people, let's say humans, who are selling us off, like who are like basically making deals and just sort of like trying to get a better deal themselves and selling humans as well. So it's like, it's not just like aliens taking over. In my Ubis, I've seen like countless of times where it's actually humans trying to capture others and sort of shipping them off and trying to sell us out, but like more like they have a product and they would like try to sell it for someone. It's not like they're like, there's a group of people who are like, hey, we need humans. No, it's more like humans like, we have humans, would you like them? You know, so it's like different answer, but it does happen. So there's a lot of interest in the whole planet as well. It's a different place. So yeah, there's a lot. Oh, Spacey has a good question. Can you please share some of the out of body experiences that proved you it's not imagination or dream? And I mean those who could get valid face feedback in real life. Yes. So it's probably like one of my first hardcore experiences, and it's like starting out like I think like when I was around 14, 15, I think like 15. But anyway, like I was in like visiting my grandparents at the cottage house. And like the cottage house like away from the city, it's like a little village, and back then like drones weren't the thing and stuff. So like it's nighttime, it's kind of like getting closer to winter, where like it's really foggy and all this stuff. So like I wake up at nighttime, go outside, and just like sort of just like breathing and stuff like that, checking things out, and I look at the sky and like kind of seeing lights, like sort of like it's how do you say, like cloudy to the point where you can't really see anything, but if you look down, there's this massive freaking light on the ground, and 5 of them, and like massive by being like a 25 meters like radius, so like 25 meters would be, let's see, 2 feet, that would be, okay, so 25 meters are 82 foot. So like yeah, like basically 82 feet light, you know? It's like it's crazy how like big those were. But just like these like 5 massive lights on the ground, like just coming together, splitting apart. And the thing is like, you know, like for me that was like, you know, like a UFO, and more like planes fly there super rarely, ever. Doesn't make sound, doesn't move or anything, like still in the sky, but on the ground it's just like going all over the place. So like going from, just like seemed like it's scanning the ground, like just like literally all over the place, and then coming all together, and then like sort of scattering around and stuff like that. And at the time, like I didn't have a phone, like funny story, like a side topic. I have never ever bought a phone in my life. I was lucky enough to actually have my mom give her old ones. So literally, I was always lucky, like let's say my mom will use her for like 5, 8, 10 years, and it's like, okay, done with this one, would you like this one? Like, yeah, thank you, you know. So like I'm like, I don't like buying stuff that much, so she would always give me her old ones or whatever, and I ended up like having like, let's say, the flip phone while everyone's like having their touch screens. I'm like, I have a flip phone, yay! So like I was always the older, like old, like in that like old techie stuff. But I didn't have a phone or anything like when I went outside to film it, and I was like, damn, this is like such a sight. I always wanted to see something like this. And after seeing like this kind of like paranormal stuff or whatever you want to call it, I went to bed, and the same night I have an out of body experience where like a physical body falls asleep, and I wake up and I'm in the spaceship. And I have this like human walk up to me saying like, "Hey, Akvile, we were waiting for you." And so like this captain of the ship, we were talking and stuff. Spaceship is like massive. Spaceship was massive. It's like you have lounges. You look through the window, and there are like parks and like other like tons of buildings and stuff like that. It was like a massive spaceship, but at the same time, it's just like a they can even like use their little drones to like go down like show off and stuff, and then all of a sudden like, hey, I'm out there. But the thing is, talking about like how do you know it's real? In that out of body experience, I was like fully awake, and in the lounge, like where people like are just drinking and stuff like that, I saw this person, and while I was just like talking to some aliens, this person like, hey, where are you from? Seems like you're like how should I say it? You're from Earth, and I'm like, yeah, how do you know? Like so like we ended up talking, and so like two humans talking on a spaceship, and eventually this guy's like, hey, I'm from Japan. Here's my email. Here's my Facebook. Would you like to connect? And I'm like, okay. So literally waking up and going back to like the town where I live, and after a few days, because like I didn't have internet or anything, I ended up like sending him an email, and we literally started exchanging emails. So for me, that was like 100% confirmation that like I've been out of body and have never met a person from Japan or anything, and the person like met me there in a newbie. We came back, we exchanged emails and stuff, and ended up talking here on Earth. So for me, that was like 100% real. And from then on, I was like, damn, this is real deal. So it's not just like, oh, I had this like fancy dream, woo, met some aliens in the dream, and that's it. Like so, like for me, that would be like 100% confirmation that it's all real. But some people, if they never believe it, they're never gonna believe it. So like literally, you need the first-hand experience to sort of see that. Another thing, like just to sort of like give you more feedback or like that it's valid and stuff like that. Literally getting out of body and ending up like in the experience like with my classmate. She had an experience, I had an experience, but we ended up meeting in an out of body experience, and I was just sort of like spectating. I was going with her, but I was more of a spectator rather than doing too much. And she had this experience like we had like fun, as in like just like literally riding a bus, talking to people, and just like okay, done. Literally, she had no idea what's going on. And every morning when we go to school, we would meet up on the way and we would just go together. So we meet up and she's like, I had this experience last night. And she was all excited because she had this like guy she was in love with and she was talking about, and she's all excited. And so while she's like talking about the experience she had, I stopped her, cut off her in the middle to finish off the sentence with exactly what she saw. She's like, what the hell, you've been there too? And she was all blown out that like, we've been there together, we did that stuff. And literally everything that happened throughout the Ubi, we were both explaining the parts, and I've seen it, she's seen it, to different people, living differently, not even talking about certain things, not knowing certain details. We ended up meeting up, talking, and like exactly the same experience. So like, that'd be another confirmation. So anyway, lots of little things to share, but yeah. Also, like, so I'm slowly scrolling down and all, and just now I came to the point where like I saw like John West, thank you for the donation, and I'm glad I could answer your questions. Still catching up. Like you can actually sort of like see how far up am I. Okay, so like I'm still like slowly scrolling down, and I just reached the part where people are talking about my personal experience about life and all this stuff. So like I'm sort of just catching up with all that. By the way, how are you all doing? Yeah, okay? MTN for 44 is asking, what are the fish beings called? And I think you're talking about the amphibians. That's a good one. TD Edition is asking, like, how do you not let up to erase our dreams? That's a good one. Let's see. So it's all about paying attention, because like we dream every single night, all of us, and it's really about recalling your dreams, which is like why we start keeping the dream journal. Some people record the audio, like suddenly they just wake up and like that, and they're just gonna talk to their phone or whatever. Other people like will wake up and write it down. Really, the whole journaling, whether you do it recording, whether you talk to other people, where you write it down, it really depends on your style of how you learn and how you memorize things, because some people remember better when they listen. For you, recording and then re-listening will keep you in the memory. Other people will feel more when they write it down and all this stuff. Like really depends on how you do it. But just sort of like recording, or like to say journaling the dreams, whichever way you choose to do is a good thing. So start from journaling the dreams, trying to recall as much as possible, because this is where you start paying attention. The thing is, like, they can't really erase the dream. They can only remove your awareness of it, because you can literally tap into every single dream you've ever had, but because it's overlaid, or you sort of like are unaware of it, then that'll be the thing. So literally trying to journal your dreams is very important, because one thing is like the more you journal, it's not like oh yeah, I can see like what experience I had 5 years ago, how nice. It's not for that. It's not like keeping like a photo album like for memories and stuff, but like more like you write it down for yourself, because as you're writing down, you're starting to pay attention to what happens, and you're teaching yourself like, hey, I need to pay attention. Like, so like when you're dreaming and you like wake up, you write down every single detail, like oh well, the bookcase had tons of red books and like it like had this texture and stuff like that. So like the more attention you pay, literally when you are dreaming, you will become more aware. You will pay attention, like, oh look, and you start looking around, you start like paying attention, and all of a sudden you become more aware. So becoming more aware in the dream will bring you to the lucidity, to the astral, to the ubi. So like it's very important to move through those steps. At the same time, like let's say you're keeping the dream journal, but you're still noticing like, hey, your dreams are getting sort of like erased, or like you don't remember them as much. Another thing like would be trying to track down who is affecting you, like just like sort of like trying to identify the group. Not, you don't necessarily have to see them or know exactly who it is, but you're just sort of putting a label, like beings that are erasing my dreams, beings that are suppressing my dreams. Sometimes some people have seen, and like they're like beings, let's say spider-looking entity, crab-looking entity, octopus-looking entity. They usually crawl on our faces. They're astral, and while people are sleeping, like the physical body is asleep, they'll literally land, like sort of like slowly land on your face. And what they do is like they get within, like not like just like going within your head or anything, but more like accessing what your like consciousness is doing. So they can tap into your dreams and see what's going on and literally try to suck out the energy. So like your dreams will be like kind of like harvesting places for them where they can like take all your energy of creation. They can also manipulate your dreams to like the point what you're gonna see and stuff like that. So like one of the things they're doing is like clearly manipulating your dreams and what you're gonna experience to make you feel bad, wrong, and guilty and all this stuff and more exhausted. Another thing is like trying to sort of like overlay things. So literally, if you wake up and you feel like like you're feeling exhausted, you're tired, or you had this nightmarish and stuff like that, trying to let's say clear out your whole room with like you see your room and you're like just like visualizing a little construct within. Let's say just like an overlay or like this square, like or just like create this shape of your room within the room, like as an energy, like as a little outline. And then you can sort of like just destroy that whole construct because like that is an overlay that like other beings put to sort of like put everything trapped so that you wouldn't actually get out or anything. Visualizing or thinking about these like crab-looking entity looking, as in like a spider, octopus, crab-looking entities that get in our faces, try to think about destroying them or getting rid of them, because there's a lot of them and they are actually working in groups, so you destroy one and everyone comes back. If that happens, you need to go after the whole hierarchy. So if you feel like this is your case where you feel like you're like, hey, your neck is feeling weird, it's kind of like tight and stuff like that, so a lot of times they wrap around you and like just like, it's not like they're strangling you, but like you will feel like, this pressure on your neck and shoulders and stuff like that. So you would have to like, okay, possibly spiders, crab-looking beings, or octopuses, kind of like those entities are harvesting my energy, they're trying to affect my dreams, they're trying to overlay my dreams and stuff like that. So seeing that, you would basically ask yourself a question like, okay, who's above them? Who is their leader? And you can even ask them the question, because eventually they're the pawns and they do what's being told, they're doing what's being programmed. So you can even ask them the question and you get the answer telepathically, and just the knowing, just the thought. And with that you can actually like, oh well, there's this specific group, maybe there's Grace, maybe some other like other beings, and you can literally follow the whole hierarchy. And just like by sort of getting the awareness of what's going on, you can use your thoughts or imagination to remove them. So that would be a thing, like literally just like finding entities or beings that are messing with you throughout the night and using your visuals, galactic vacuum, thoughts, and all the stuff to remove them. That's a thing. What else? Doing like this like protection shielding. Let's say before you go to sleep, you sort of visualize yourself in this bubble, and you program it that no one can access it, that no one can get close to you. So you have rules, or let's say your own values, and you will make sure like with your standards, you're not gonna let anyone break it. So like let's say for me, if my standard is like don't be a sellout, or like let's say what kind of person I am, and like just like be appreciated, be kind, be good to others, and like don't try to harm others, or like just like live life to the fullest, like whatever. Just like I would have my own standards and make sure like I don't fuck it up for myself. With all that, I would not like, let's say if I'm having conversation with a grandma and she's not like saying stuff that like is gonna be a bit triggering, I'll make sure that I pay attention, like okay, this is triggering me, but I have to make sure I don't say absolutely anything I will regret. And so like by paying attention, I have my own virtues that I live by and stuff like that. So like anyway, like the way I would live is more like, okay, so I go to sleep and I would create this bubble of energy, and I'm basically programming it, okay, so any being that might want to harvest me, affect me, try to deceive me, affect my dreams, affect my energy, blah blah blah, and I just name things I don't want happening, and I say like, okay, so like all that, they can't get close to me, they can't enter the space, I'm safe now. And at the same time you can actually program the good stuff where like only the beings who will be there to protect me, to make sure like they give like my energy, they sort of enlighten me, they give me information so that they can be closer or like whatever. But it's up to you with what kind of programming you put there. So that's another thing, like sort of creating this protection shield before you go to sleep. And you can like create this like protection shield around your body, or even in your own room, around your house. That's a thing. Another thing to try to do is literally creating this like a little army of soldiers. And basically, let's say in your bedroom there's like 4 corners of the room, and in each corner you place soldiers. It could be just like a little puppy, it can be a panda with armor, like whatever you would imagine. Like if you have superheroes you admire, maybe Spider-Man, maybe Superman, whatever, someone you like, and sort of like, yeah, this person could protect me, or sort of you might have hots for some person, like doesn't matter, you put them in the corner, and they're gonna be like sort of like this astral body that will sort of be there to help you. So you ask them like, okay, if there's anyone who will might try to harm me, please take care of them. And so like in the four corners of the room, they're there standing with you all the time, making sure like they keep your place safe. But you can do it not just in your bedroom, but each and every single room of your house. You can do it around your house and all stuff. Like so, like you can literally have your own army of beings protecting you. That'd be another thing to try out. But yeah, lots of little things to protect yourself against like the dream erase. And yeah, just paying attention. It's important. So there, that'd be my little answer. Yeah, Cosmos is keeping crystals. That's good. Put Reiki symbols is also good. Yeah. Yeah, and that's good too. Like guardian angels and praying and all this stuff. Just because like in some videos, I might say like, hey, there are some of them that are not good for them. Like I probably am not clear when I'm talking, or like let's say I talk about some archangels and stuff that are not good for us. My main point is that there are beings pretending to be the real guys trying to deceive us and all this stuff. So like some of them are not good because they're there to pretend and simply entities. But it does not mean that all angels or archangels or gods are bad. Literally, there are beings who are really good. There are archangels and angels who are super loving, who will be there to protect and help you. So if you feel like it's someone you can trust, if you feel like you're being helped, it is totally good. So if you're praying and you feel protected, or if you feel better, it's good for you. So like what I'm saying, like a lot of times maybe I'm talking and I'm not making it clear, but I mentioned something like if it's not working, or if you feel like you're being harmed, there's a reason for that. But if you're actually feeling like, hey, you're being protected, you're being cared for, and all the like good stuff is happening, it's good. So yeah, like having angels, archangels, guardians, and all the stuff, praying, all of that is good if you're feeling like it's helping. So like no shame in it. It's all I'm glad some people are doing it and they're winning with it. So like yeah, it's go for it. Yeah, Galactic Federation is real, and from my perspective, or the encounters I've had, they're not the good guys. And like, there's a recent article like I've talked about like in the beginning of the stream, but like yeah, like Galactic Federation saying like yeah, we're there to help and unite humanity, but like humans are not ready for it yet. So like that story is more of a push like of trying to deceive people and like not to deceive like they don't exist, but it's more of pushing that like oh, aliens will be the ones to unite humanity. It's like that's crap. Aliens ain't gonna save us or anything like that. But yeah. Andromeda is asking like Akvile, how can I be connected at the same time with the astral realm but I'm awake? It is totally possible, and Yeah, I guess the simplest way of saying it, your imagination and your visuals will be the key thing for this. So literally, you can be sitting here, like just like listening to my stream or like whatever you're doing right now, and let's say you have your hands still, but you have your hands on the table, just like this, and while your hand is like this, you're imagining your actual hand go up. So you literally have like your physical hand and your astral hand is like, just going out, like, and sort of like if you have visuals, you literally can have your astral self leave the physical body and have two bodies move at the same time and do other things. So you can have the both physical and the astral experience at the same time. It's totally possible. With all that, carrying information, playing around, and stuff like that. It's all about your visuals. Like if you can sort of like imagine and like sort of like just visualize your actual body getting out of your physical and going and doing something, whether it is here in the physical on Earth or whether it's like just like flying out and going somewhere else, like being in the Andromeda for you or like whatever, being on your own spaceship, doesn't matter. So like it's all up to you. So you can definitely do that, and it's possible. So it's more like your visuals and having the intention. At least that's the way that's for me. And like it's easy for me to say because like yeah, just like I have my body here. Like for example, like I'm sitting here talking to you, but I can literally have my astral body sit on the couch and see everything. Like I right now have like two let's say split screen where I see the physical, like right now looking on the monitor and stuff like that, but on the other screen I see myself from the back where it's the chair, I see my head, I see the heavens, but everything is going from the other perspective. So if you can visualize things from the other perspective, that'd be great. And for that, I would probably recommend you the mock-up technique, which means where you're laying, sitting, standing, doesn't matter, you just relax, but you imagine creating another of your, like, just another body, like whether it's astral, whether it's chocolate, whether it's metal, it doesn't matter, just like another body of yourself, and literally imagine shifting your consciousness or perspective into that body. And while you're sitting or doing whatever, see if you can view everything from that other body that you just created, that you moved into. And if you can literally create tons of bodies around the house and move your like perspective into each room and just sort of check things out. And at the same time, like try to moving the body and walking through it, like walking with the body and like just like looking around. And you literally could practice sitting here, being on the phone, having a friend of yours like somewhere in this like on the street, and you have your astral body walking on the street, reading off the like license plate of a car and asking like, was that the car? And your friend's like, yeah. So you literally can have like this like reality check if your astral body is on the same place and if you're actually seeing whatever. So like that would be like a good way to practice even remote viewing and all the other stuff. But yeah, there you go. Cosmos is saying, Akvile, do you know the Israeli who says that the Trump isn't a deal with aliens and the former space military is saying we're already in contact with aliens? Hamish said, retired general. Yeah, I've heard of the story. My take on it, like, yeah, humans have been in contact with aliens for a long time. I think, like, since even, like, Eisenhower, and, a lot of times, like, aliens were preventing the whole nuclear wars and everything else. They really hate wars and just sort of, like, see this, like, planet as a treasure. But then again, humans were, like, from the story I have read, and I can't say, like, it's true or is the thing, but, like, for what I've read this, like, basically, Eisenhower made a deal with the bad guy alien group because, like, the good guys were sort of like, let's not do wars. Let's not do nuclear wars and everything else. Just avoid that. And we can help you out, we can share knowledge, and the bad guys are like, yeah, you can have wars and stuff, we're gonna help you out, but just like da-da-da. And so like selling off humans and other things like came as a thing. So since then it's a thing, like I'm pretty sure like a lot of the presidents can have connections, but I don't think they actually come face to face and they're talking and have the meetings or anything. It's more like there's tons of evidence where like ETs can actually just like, they're freaking smart, they're freaking intelligent. It's so easy for them to connect to humanity and actually control them, like get within our head. And just like imagine how some people have schizophrenia and they hear voices and they go crazy. You can literally have another ET connect to you and like talk to you and stuff like that. And be mess with you, like mess with you and like control your body or like other things and scare the shit out of you. Like some of the popes are being controlled and all this stuff. So like it's totally a thing. It would be great if Trump declassified and like, yeah, aliens exist and all this stuff, but like it's I think like it's a big bullshit story. Like humanity is not ready for it. It's more like I think it's their biggest excuse because, man, I think like humans can handle aliens and all this stuff. It's more like how do you say it? Governments are not ready to say like, oh yeah, we're pedophiles and we're like doing all this stuff and we're sacrificing children and it's fine and blah blah blah. So like selling all those things, I don't think they would be ready to disclose that shit rather than like aliens. So yeah, like there's a lot to it. I feel like the story is real, but like how much, I still like the details are there. I don't know. The thing is like there's a lot of disclosing like happening, like there's disclosures and like officials like even like from the military, from the navy, from the air force coming out saying like, yeah, we had tons of encounters. There's like CIA had hundreds of thousands of disclosing like of documents disclosed about the UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. Like so like just like going on the CIA and reading some files and you can actually see some proof and all. There's a lot of that, but like they're still pushing like, oh, humans are not ready, blah blah blah. It's like, shut the fuck up. Okay, so Sankar is asking, hey Akvile, why do you say that humans are powerful? On what basis are you saying? I'm saying that the consciousness within the human body, which is just a vessel, nothing more than that, is powerful. I'm talking about the consciousness, I'm talking about your awareness, about your imagination, about your creativity, about the godlike being that you are. The human body is nothing more than just like a clothing we're wearing. And just like a... Yeah, it's probably the best explanation I would have. Because each and every one of you, like, this is the consciousness we're talking about. Being able to move in and out, being able to be everything and nothing all at once. And doesn't matter if you're human, if you're like a reptilian, if you're like any kind of alien, if you're a dog or whatever. The body, it is just a vessel, nothing more than that. And yeah, DK is saying, I trimmed my hair today. Yay! Well done for you. Meredith, thank you for the support and donation. Appreciate it. Cosmos Knight is saying something weird happens when you don't live stream for more days. I feel like I get a backlash and forget about entities and start to believe my nasty thoughts again. I need to practice this new vibe for more days. Well, like I'm surprised and I'm happy that I have such an impact. And yeah, it's like I guess it's always good to have this like one little person reminding you like, hey, you're being attacked, you're not crazy or anything. So I guess that would be my mission or whatever. Appreciate it. But yeah, regarding that subject, we are being attacked all the time. I guess I could expand and talk more about it, but I'm just like, there's more questions, so like I'm just gonna go talk about other things, I guess. I don't know. Am I talking okay? Because I'm a bit all over the place, I guess. Ichdu is saying, have you said sometime that cats live in like between dimensions and you look like a cat too? Yeah, meow. So yeah, so the cats, I guess they would have like in between dimensions, they have more access. They definitely have more access. They definitely have more access to seeing more than normal people. It's like if some of you have the ability, that you can see other like entities and like energies and other things. You can develop same things as cats. It's just like this is their natural state. Like they're not affected by life too much, so like they can definitely like be on this state where they see other beings. They see like much more and way beyond than we see. So like even like dead people or like entities and other beings we don't see, like shadow people and all this stuff. They're always there. It's just like we're so tuned into our physical life that we're not paying attention, and the cats, they're always there. They're always seeing this stuff. So yeah, it's yeah, we could say that. Okay, Sunny Days is asking, I have been journaling Ubi dreams when I wake, and I have no. Oh, sorry. I have been journaling out of body dreams, and when I wake, it takes almost an hour to get memories. Years ago, I would have memories upon waking. Anything to this? Okay, so yeah, a lot of times the moment we wake up we start thinking, like the moment we open our eyes or even before we open our eyes we have like awake and the mind's like talking to you nonstop, like you're like, oh, what's today like and what day is it and what time is it and like how do I feel and all this stuff, and there's just like nonstop chatter the moment you open your eyes or the moment you get awake. So like that might be one of the causes, because a lot of times if you wake up and you try to practice quiet mind, just either keep it all quiet, no thoughts at all, or you just like try not to pay attention and stuff like that, like you get more access to it, you get more access to your dreams. Other things, I would guess, like let's say you wake up and you're sort of like, yeah, I remember dreaming something but I can't really remember what. And the thing I do is like I try to recall the last scene I have seen in there, like the last thing that was like in the visuals, like was it a person, was it like a scenery, what was it? And sort of like the more I pay attention, the more drawn into it I get, and sort of like I can get back. So that would be like one thing. But how to say it? The longer we live here, the more we get messed up by life, like people around us, all kinds of situations and other things. And every single day we might find a trigger or two or things that happen. So with more experience with how you handle life, you're basically trying to survive, to like pay off things, to go to work, to just like trying to feel better physically. And all these things you're doing, you're constantly trying to get better. It's like you're never satisfied with life and all that stuff. And so waking up and you already start paying attention to how to survive, how to take care of yourself, how to deal with certain things. And this is like the first thing that comes naturally, maybe even like subconsciously, just like really working it, and you're not paying attention. It's sort of like you just wake up, like it's natural state, you're already in it, and you're like, oh, I was actually dreaming, and you sort of stop everything and you try to recall, but every single thought was actually just like trying to create the overlay of your dream so that you would not remember anything. So, I would guess like dealing with the present time problems, if you have people messing with you, if you have like, let's say, things to do that are important and have a deadline, that's also a thing. I feel like taking care of present time problems is important. Journaling is great, but if you like journal and see like it's really hard to get back there. I would like even like look into why, as in like why are you getting messed with by the entities? Does your like attention shift anywhere else, or like it's just their calm lack? For example, you have like a dream, but there's like this program that will sort of like allow you to remember only after a certain period of time. So like maybe you look at things like that. So like just more of I don't know, like curiosity about it sort of thing would be helpful. But yeah, it's like what I'm coming up with right now. Another thing, I would guess like sort of like kind of subconscious thing where if it wasn't that pleasant, if it was experience that sort of like was nightmarish, or like just like, hey, if it's not important, I don't want to remember it. Like you try to sort of not pay attention to useless or like meaningless stuff in life. Like you're just like going throughout like every single day you're going through stuff and you meet things like just doesn't mean anything to you, like simple conversations like, well, I don't give a fuck about the fashion, or like I don't care about this, and you're sort of like just like trying not to pay attention to meaningless stuff. If you have a dream and it's kind of like meaningless, has nothing to you, it's like by the subconscious, it's like, nah, there's no reason to, like, why would I remember it? It's like, it's meaningless. So you're trying not to pay attention, and all of a sudden the belief or the lifestyle you have in your every single day life might be affecting the dream state and the memory. So that would also be saying, like, something I would pay attention to, like, let's say every day, what kind of thinking do you have, what kind of values and virtues do you have, like, how is, like, do you have any repetitive phrases, or do you have any certain beliefs about everyday's life, like paying attention to certain things, or like trying not to care about certain things, and like just like look at those things, pay attention to yourself, because there might be something within, so like sort of like auditing yourself would help. But yeah, that would be my answer, I guess. So I see, like, Andromeda is asking, like, how can someone trap beings that are evil so that I can take their energy and power my ship in the astral? Um, I don't wanna give you ways to do it, cause like for me, it just creates this like never-ending chain. Like people are being messed with by some beings, and all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, like we're the victims and they're the bad guys because of this, and we get hit so much that we're like, oh fuck you, I'm gonna do the same thing to you. You get out and you do this to them, and some of their children or like some of their offspring will be like, here's the bad guy, let's do that to them. So you reincarnate somewhere else, or like you go somewhere else, and they're like coming back at you. So like it's a never-ending chain, which is why like I try to avoid this thing where, like, let's say we get harmed, and, like, because you did me harm, I'm gonna harm you. It's like a eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and all this stuff. Like, it's not my way of thinking and living, which is why I would not want to suggest you to do that. So, because you are consciousness, you're infinite. You have infinite energy source. You don't need some entities and beings who might be evil to you in your own perspective, because you yourself have infinite amount of energy. You will not lose anything if you create this little bubble or little crystal that has the infinite amount of energy to power up your ship. Just like, boom, little crystal, you manifest it, you insert it into the ship, and the whole ship will be powerful. So there's no need to harm others because they did something to you to power up yourself or your ships and stuff like that. So that would be my take on it. But yeah. I want to go more on the subject, but like, fuck it. Okay, so like I'm reading a comment from Starseed, and she's saying, Akvile, these entities hide information from me and do spells so that other people will not want to help me, so I find out, so my case gets turned away. A lot of turned away a lot, and I talked to the higher ups, and she's not wanting to talk to me now. Now what? Okay, yeah, like we need more comments and like other things in the sense, but like that's okay. So if you want to get information and all of a sudden entities are preventing you from going there, and you just like sort of like feel like, you know, you're being disconnected from people, I would imagine like, let's say when you have a connection with someone, think of it as a cord or the string that connects you with someone. Whether it is you and another person, whether it is you and your higher self, whether it is you and someone else, like your servitors and other beings that you have in your surroundings. If you feel disconnected from them, think about this like cord that you have with them, and this cord will get really dark or kind of like sort of like, how to say, filled up to the point where it's like kind of clogged. Is that the right word? Like it's so full that like you can't go through it. That's the wrong thing to show. Anyway, but clearing out the whole cord, making sure like it's empty and it's clear. So like it could be a full flow, like, and two-way communication is the thing. Like, for example, like when I'm doing sessions with people and I see like they're disconnected from everyone else, I look at the cords, like the cords that connect them with others, and the cords are dark, or it's only one-way communication towards only you going, as in like giving, asking, trying to communicate, but absolutely getting nothing back, being ignored, being dismissed, or like they don't give you the acknowledgement, they don't like see you and all this stuff. So like when that is happening, I would visualize the chords and simply like, let's say the way I visualize the body, and if there is the pain or something not good going on, I will see the darker spots. So like I would visualize the cord, and if it's clogged or like sort of like disconnected, or like making sure like it's you can't or like you're ignored and all this stuff, I would see the cord is clogged and I would clean it. And there's that, but sometimes the cords are not good for us, so just cutting them off and disconnecting it. So there would be that. What else? Entities, like entities that hide information from you, target them. It's like, well, entities like are still at the bottom. Look at who's above them. Look like just try to follow the whole hierarchy. Like talk to the entities. Talk to the entities, like try to talk to their leaders and see who's above them, who's above the leader, who's like commanding it all, who's trying to target you, and make sure like you're disconnected from everyone else. And so like targeting the whole hierarchy would be better, because like if you're dealing with one entity, you're constantly gonna deal with a person who's sending you their puppets. It's like there's tons of pawns, but you're never gonna get the king or the queen. So just go after the higher ups and just destroy the whole pyramid. Andromeda is asking like, what's your take on the Galactic Council? And again, like I don't really see them as someone I would trust. Like I met people, like I worked with some people who were like we're the Council of Nine and I'm one of them, and like like all this stuff. But I talked up the person, and it's such an ego trip. It's such an like I me, and like the importance and how big they are, and all of a sudden like feeling like, how do you say, like in Lithuania we have the saying "Pasaulio Bamba." It's like being the navel of the world is like the most important being of all, and all this. Like it's all about me now, you know. Like so like people who had connections to the Galactic Council and like all those like Council of Nine and all this stuff, like they were like ooh big groups, like big name, like ooh like whoa my god, it just like came out as the most egoistic, aggressive, selfish people I've encountered. And for me, like, I'm not getting the good picture of that. Like, the beings I've met in outer body and in the astral, and the people I've met here who have connections, I'm just sort of like, I'm really not getting the good image of that. So, like, I have not seen the good deeds or anything. It's kind of like just like big talks, but no good deeds or anything, you know, just like very deceptive from my point of view. Okay, so just need to stretch a little bit. But yeah. Anthony Jones asking, what do you think about a 20 and back as a secret space program with the nasty breakaway civilizations, with the time travel and super soldiers, etc.? For me, it's totally the real thing. It's the real deal. I have listened to some of the interviews, and like what people share, people that have been in the secret space program and 20 and back, whatever they're sharing, I can agree to a lot because I've seen it in my out of body experiences. But then I have worked with clients who share their stories how like they're they're in school, but the moment like one moment they're just like a person in school like, who basically like barely understands anything, but at the same time one blink and feels like the whole time like life changed, and all of a sudden they are the smarter than the whole class, and they can like literally stand up like, hey teacher, you don't know shit, like literally starts teaching way more than the teacher and stuff like that. So like there's a lot to it, listening to the story and like just like seeing like a simple person who seemed like will reach absolutely nothing within seconds changes, and then by doing like past life regression and all that stuff, like they get details and share me their stories like of how their life flipped and like the details of what happened. So it's totally true. There's a lot going on, and the whole like thing with the time travel, and there's like there's tons of time wars going on, which is why some of us see the whole Mandela effect, which is why some of us see like the whole reality change. Like one day we see the object, one day this is missing, and there's a lot of other things going on, and we feel like wow, how is the world changing so fast? Like what the hell is going on? Like is this real and stuff like that? So like a lot of like is being done like where tons of groups. It's not just like the secret space like Nazi groups and like other things, but like tons of factions doing this, tons of factions literally playing time wars where they're like trying to, let's say, go back in time and change things for their own benefits, and or like those are like fighting like for the greater good and all this stuff. There's a lot of that thing going on, but yeah, it's totally a thing. I believe it. I have talked to a lot of people who've been there, and like it's a thing. Okay, so Jess is saying, I've been constantly visited by Grace. It's rather uncomfortable since I was a child, and I feel I've been blocked from accessing the astral. How can we find the block and remove it? I would like start auditing myself. Like, what happens when they visit you? Like, do you have conversations? Do they affect in one way or another? Do you feel like split? Do you feel like you wake up from the experience and you have lost part of yourself? What happens through these encounters? What happens through these experiences? Do you remember like weird dreams or experiences where you might have been in a lab, where you might have been through a surgery and all this stuff? Because all this stuff is real. Like whether it is your astral body going through it or your physical, it is happening. And so like these astral blocks, like or like let's say not being able to get out and stuff, it's happening to a lot of people. To find the blocks, remove it. Like literally, the more you can recall, the better. Paying attention to what happens, to specific phrases, to what happens throughout these events and after the events. And I would go with like changes. Like, does anything change? Like not being able to access the astral anymore. Like, you basically, okay, why can't I access the astral anymore after the gray visits? And simply a few things that pop up, like, well, what if I've been implanted? What if there's a construct that like keeps me here, and like or like keeps me connected, like or anchor the physical body? And like just sort of like asking yourself these questions. If you get like thoughts or visuals and stuff like that, just go with it. Don't question it too much. It's like fuck logic, just like whatever you're perceiving, go with it, because you can definitely access a lot of information just with that, because all of you have these abilities, all of you have this like inner lie detector within, so you will know the truth, and with that you can pick up like what's going on for real, and your visuals are enough to destroy some of the constructs and like astral implants and all the stuff. Other than that, energy clearing, passive regression, other things that you can try out would be helpful. TD Edition is saying, do we need to get into the deep state of mind to remote view? And my answer would be no, not really. I think like if you practice, literally like I said before, you can like do the mock-up technique. I wrote it up in my Reddit and like made articles about it as well. But literally creating or like imagining a body of yours, either like while you're here sitting, laying, whatever you're doing, like watching the stream or listening to the stream, you create another body somewhere in the room and try to shift your consciousness within the body. If you sort of like just like like just doing whatever, you're on your phone, but literally you can get a perception of your other body like out there, and you can see the body. Like my mom wrote, what the fuck? Oh my god. Okay. My mom sent me a mystery box ad. Cool. Trying to seduce me with candies. No, mom. Thanks. Okay, but anyway, coming back to the subject. You basically create another body if you were to move your consciousness, and whatever you're doing, if you can sort of get the perspective of the other body, you can literally practice trying to get that body into the street, walking around, and you can have another person sort of just like sit in the park, and you would basically watch the car licenses, like a car license plate, I should say, and you just like sort of read out the numbers and call your friend like, okay, this is the number I saw, and the person who's checking the street will say, yeah, this is the number, yep, this is correct, nope, 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 yes, yes. So you can literally do this confirmation, and the more you get confirmed like this is real, that would give you like, hey, I can do this totally. With that, some people might use pendulums, some people might use muscle testing, theta meters, and tons of other things to confirm things. But each and every one of you can do remote viewing. It's totally possible. So yeah. Give me a second, I'm gonna reply to my mom. It's like... Okay, got it. Yeah, let's see. Slice of Sand is asking, if I'm on the winning timeline, where are my negative friends? Are they actually on another worse timeline? It really depends, because you can actually have friends who are all to like thinking negative or like not doing so good, and you hang with them, so you're doing great, but they're not doing so good, and you can be on the same timeline, but at the same time you can shift into, you're shifting to where your friends will actually be doing better, but there's gonna be like, let's say, mirror reality or like parallel realities where they can, like, same scenario, but you can have negative friends like not doing so good or just like being aware and all this stuff. So like lots of variations. Elaine is asking, Akvile, have you ever been contacted by the Black Ops? What would you do and what would we do? I don't think I have. I don't think I have. I doubt it's gonna happen. I really doubt I have that kind of influence, but what do I know? If that happens, like, I can't tell you what would happen because I have no idea what's gonna happen if it happens, you know? What would I do if I was contacted like that? Like, I'm interested in the conversations. If it's gonna be a conversation, I hope I won't be abused, but, like, if it happens, whatever. Interesting. Like, I don't really think about this stuff. Like, I don't really think that, I can be touched or I can be harmed and stuff. Like it can happen, but I'm just sort of focused on like I'm doing good and I'm limitless to the point where like can't touch me, you know. So if you heard like David Icke talking about like why he can't be harmed, I sort of like have similar beliefs about myself, and I'm just trying to empower myself that this is not actually, why would they, you know. So yeah. Meredith is saying, had a dream where I was on a rescue mission to rescue children. Trump and Alliance was there, and I think I'm helping at night sometimes. Have you ever tapped into anything like that? Yeah. If you're having dreams, astral travel, subies, and all these experiences throughout the night, that like, let's say, you spend your whole night, or just like you tap into the reality where you are helping people. And whether there's Trump, whether there's other people like in there, you just sort of see yourself doing it. Like, we have tons of other bodies. Like your physical body might be here, but we have other aspects of ourselves, and they're fully alive and they're fully like managing their own lives. They have like free will. But if you focus on life and you have goals in life where you want to help others, or you have this like greater deals, like, hey, there's a lot of pedophilia going on, and world, like, we should stop it. There should no, like, people should not use children. People should not like go for this whole pedophilia, adrenochrome, and all this stuff. So if your beliefs are like that, you have sort of like a default dream state, or like let's say default settings of your life, like, hey, you have certain values and this is really good. Because of that, your other parts of yourself will tap into like, hey, stop pedophilia, stop this. And those parts of you who are, let's say, kind of like freelancers who are always there to help you out, they're like, hey, a mission, stop pedophilia, like rescue children. So they get the mission, or they get the idea that they should go and help, and all of a sudden physical body falls asleep, and you literally tune in into another part of yourself that is actually doing it. Like you open your eyes and you find yourself on this mission. It's happening all the time. Each and every one of you have these experiences throughout the night, probably a lot, where one of you is like, let's say you go through life and you want to learn, you want to get more information, or certain things happens and you're just like looking how to deal with certain things in life. As you're adjusting your beliefs about how life is, your other aspects will get this like sort of like, okay, our default settings are changing, this is our main focus right now, and because of it, your other parts will literally look how to help others, how to get more information, how to learn, and all this stuff. And you open your eyes after the physical body falls asleep and find yourself in tons of various situations. So you can literally be in the missions of helping children, you can be involved in secret space programs, you can be involved with military and other kind of things. It's totally a thing. It's really good thing that is happening. It's really good that you remember it all. So it's really good thing. Like I found myself too. It's weird because like I haven't let's say had experiences with other presidents, like let's say Putin or like Lithuanian president, all this stuff. Like I haven't met them in the actual and stuff. Like Trump, I did, which is like more interesting because like I was always like sort of like had like encounters where there have been sort of ET beings trying to harm him, and like he basically gave me tons of documents like, hey, protect this is like what we really need to like tell the world about, and like tons of information again like about ETs and other things. And I'm like, okay, cool, like I got you like I got you, like sort of like interesting experiences out there. Like there's a lot of details to what happened, but like whatever. So these experiences you have throughout the night, pay attention because it is meaningful, and you sort of can get a better picture of what's going on with your other bodies. And if that is the thing, like, hey, I find myself at night going through these things, and like whether it is a good thing that's happening, like you're helping others, or whether you find yourself being more of a target by the demons, being more of a target by, let's say, aliens, like laying under the table of like operations, and like some like you're going through the surgery, or something else is going on. Whatever's going on throughout your dreams, pay attention because your other parts might be affected. Then you can literally sort of like just focus on those things and like give yourself an order, like, okay, help this part of myself, or find more information and other things, and literally your other aspects will get this command, and because they're more like freelancers who are like always there to help, they will adjust their settings and be there to help you out, or your other aspects. So it's still a thing. So yeah, it's pay attention, people. Two dishes saying, I trimmed my hair too after a long time. Yeah, good for you, buddy. I was thinking about the same thing. Like, it's been like, I don't know, like 9 months since the last time, maybe. Like, I rarely go to the hairdresser, like, to get anything done. Like, cause he's like, I'm all kind of like, all natural, yeah. But I was like, damn, it's like, it's time already. It's been a while. And, I don't know. So might trim my hair as well. Thanks, John. Sankar is asking, hey Akvile, can Cameron Day Protocol heal schizophrenia in another person by me practicing that for him? Yeah, literally, if another person is going through issues, whether it is schizophrenia, where they have something else going on, you literally see their issues and you can remove their agreements. You can help them out, you can remove their entities for them, and basically with that you shift on another reality where they do better. So if a person is going through things like where they have tons of voices, you literally, okay, the person's hearing voices, and you would have to label them as much as possible. What kind of schizophrenia is it? Like, what do they hear? How do they act? How do they react to it all? And like, what kind of like voices is in, like, a really aggressive, like shouting all the time? Just like try to get as detailed as possible, because the more specific you get, the more influence you can do or like have. And with all that, like literally, I'm thinking about like people. If I was doing like, let's say, the whole stream, or like more often do the whole like soul contract revocation process on live, would you be interested? Because like just teaching you the method and how to do it, and so like maybe have you follow through and do it at the same time. If you're interested, we can totally do that. But I think like using Cameron Day's techniques and other people check it out is definitely helpful. Meredith Lickasar is asking, like, what is your take on diet and fasting? I love fasting. Yeah, fasting is really good. There's like tons of evidence how just like not eating for 3 days will help you to restore your immune system and other things. And there are people who haven't eaten for 7 days and more, and they feel great. So literally, like, sort of paying attention to what's good for you and making sure you take care of yourself and that you're safe. But other than that, fasting is amazing. I know it's like tons of benefits where, let's say, if I'm fasting, for example, like, let's say, if I eat, I'll suddenly get more sluggish and like, and that's like normal of what happens after you eat. But like, if I don't eat and just like skip more meals and just like, okay, just gonna drink, I feel great. I don't feel like, oh fuck, I need to eat, I'm so hungry, I'm so tired, or anything. Like, I feel freaking powered up. Like, I can just keep on going. So like, this is sort of like even like the more natural state, because people back in the day when they were hunting and everything else, like literally they would not be able to eat for several days in a while, like until they catch their prey and like, I finally got the meat, like rebel and stuff like that. But like they would be okay with it, like they would survive and stuff. So like it's normal, and at the same time I think it's good. Especially like if a person is eating more meat, some of the animals, because of the entities and stuff, like literally the animal can capture a few entities, and as you eat the animal, you literally can get a few clusters, so you might feel more affected by entities. So like just cleansing for a little bit is actually helpful, but actually, like just like really what was best for you, because some people like try to go vegetarian, vegan, or fasting, and they feel like all fucked up and they go full raw carnivorous. Like I had people who just like were into like closer to even like cannibalism, where they were like eating like raw meat and all this stuff. Like, oh, okay, weird, but like go for it, buddy. Like kind of weird, but like yeah. So depends, but like I like it. Fasting is really good for myself, so yeah. Any advice on staying optimistic and positive during these times and density? I feel like a lot has to do with what we focus on. Like every single day we hear tons of bad things happening in the world. Like with the corona, with the pandemic, with all the shit. Like just tons of things that are like constantly overwhelming us, and like sort of like there's the mainstream media, there's the world, and there's the surroundings you live in, where your family might not be good for you. Your family might be actually saying stuff that will trigger you. So, like, a lot has to do with our surroundings, and at the same time, because of how we have lived for years, we'll literally get into the habit of feeling bad. For example, your whole life, let's say for 18, 20 years, you might have lived with a parent who was into drinking. And whenever your parent would get drunk, he would abuse you, he would hit you and stuff like that. So like for 20 years, let's say you go through a 7 p.m., your dad gets back or your mom gets back and they get drunk and they mess with you. Or not necessarily drunk, but they have other things like, okay, it's that time again when my parents get back or my siblings get back, and this is the way they act and I'm always the victim. So you get used to everyday experience of being the victim at a certain time. You move out, it's the time of the day again, like it's 7 p.m. The parent is not there anymore, but it's at the 7 p.m. like they get back, they drink and they hit you. So you at 7 p.m. you activate this thing where like subconsciously you live there, you relive all that, and you're gonna feel all those emotions. You're gonna feel crap. You're gonna feel like the victim. 7 p.m. hits and you're all depressed and you're closing up and you're scared of the world and like fuck everyone. I hate this place. And morning, you're like, I'm great. I'm doing glad. Like morning, because dad's not there anymore. Like or like whatever. It's like our past that we have lived with the people who were affecting us all, like us certain ways all the time, it's gonna build up. It's gonna become a habit. It's gonna become then normal to feel bad or something. And so like trying to deprogram ourselves or like literally change it, it's fighting the habit and trying to create something new. And a lot has to do with point of view or perspective. Because like let's say we hear about tons of other things, we're like, yeah, life is like this and blah blah blah. Like we don't like it. But if you just focus on like, hey, this is really yummy tea. I love my tea. And you focus on this instead of everything else, and like for a moment you feel good. Like, yeah, I can enjoy this thing. But you allow yourself to focus on whatever you choose to. And if you choose to focus on the bad stuff, like I'm not saying be completely ignorant and like don't pay attention to what's going on and all the stuff, but try not to react to it. Like, okay, like easy for me to say, I've been through it, or like, I'm wondering how to put it like differently. Giving more emotion and attention to the good things. Trying to, let's say, isolate yourself a little bit more from the negative, like whether there's people around you talking about or whether it's the world, just sort of turn it off. Like, don't watch the news. Avoid this stuff if it's triggering you, if it's like causing you to react all those ways, and just try to pay attention to, let's say, listen to music, listen, like do things that make you happy. That, like, easy to say. But like for me, like what was helpful to me a lot is like actually finding people who were kind of like let's say mentors or someone I looked up to, someone who achieved something I want to do in life as well. And so like simply by focusing, like listening to them, listening to their tips, and like yeah, like this is good stuff. And so like literally dedicating an hour or two listening to the person who's actually giving good tips, and you're like cool. And so like the whole time you spend listening to someone you like, and at the same time getting some positive stuff from it. That's the thing for me. And at the same time, literally we have to teach ourselves to win in life by small things. We think like, or like most people think that like you literally have to do something big and hard to feel like a winner. Like you're like, hey, you have to achieve this thing, you have to get a new job, you have to get the salary to feel happy, you have to meet this person to feel happy. But literally, I can be happy just like every time I drink water, that's a win. So I'm gonna take some water. Damn, really yummy. Take a win. So like, just like give yourself simple tasks. Make your bed. That's a win. Decide to do simple things. Like you're like, okay, raise your hand. Yeah, I'm a winner. Yay. So literally, you're just playing. But the more you decide to do, no matter how small the things are, and you do them, you take wins in life, but at the same time, you're forming the mindset like things are good. You're winning. Things are working out. And so you literally, you might be losing in life because you want to achieve so much. And if you just focus on the small things and go with them, it's like a massive change in your beingness. So like literally, the more you can try to decide to do something and do it and go with what you decided to do and like winning, it's actually like really powerful. The smallest things, like literally, you know how like in martial arts you might learn a few like techniques or like few basics, and literally that covers it all. Like if you're like dancing and it's like waltz, there's a few basic steps like the box and a few like switches and all that stuff, and that's the basics and that's the whole dance. But you can add a few bonuses, and people are like looking for the bonuses for like all the fancy moves and all. But like you'll need to learn the basics to control the whole dance. So like same thing in life, like we need to learn to do smallest things to actually have control over lives and feel happy. And like so like if we can just give ourselves like simple things to do. Yeah, I used to be a dancer, like yeah, let's not go there. But I love dancing. So yeah, ballroom dancing, winner, and yeah, let's go bragging about it. No, fuck this stuff. But yeah, anyone wants to dance? But anyway, so just like simple stuff of trying to stay optimistic. What else can I give? I think a lot has to do with what we focus on and assume like just like trying to empower yourself, because like every day we hear a lot of like bad news happening, and it's like really disempowering when we hear about like what's going on in the world and we want things to be better, but at the same time most of us can't do it alone. Like we need to gather up a group, and that's like even harder, shit like that. So like it's difficult. So like I think just like focusing on winning, focusing on yourself, like not the world but yourself. Take care of yourself first, and the rest will be easier. But I should switch to the next question and all that stuff. So Zach is saying, for me, sometimes it's hard to remember dreams because my body doesn't want to wake up and write it out. So I have to make sure I'm not forgetting on purpose to avoid waking up. Yeah, like keeping a dream journal and writing things down is really tiresome. It's not like something, yeah, I'm looking forward to writing my dream, it's gonna be fun. It's kind of like, oh my god, no, I don't want to wake up. Just like, oh, wake me up later. And you're like all snuggly and all this stuff. So like, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday fight with that sort of like just like trying to, how to say it, keep the journal and like really work it. But like sometimes the most effective things are hard to do, or more like not fun. It's not fun. It's like it's not something we look forward to, but it is effective. Renato is saying, between your index finger and ring finger on your right hand, which one is longer? So this is my right hand. You can see how it is. Yeah, this is like my middle finger is longer. I'm sorry, people. Yay! But anyway, is someone doing the hand reading and like looking on personalities about like the fingers and stuff? I remember like when I was a kid, I would like used to research that stuff. Like, oh look, the mole has a meaning. Like, ooh. Now it's like, more like, I don't give a fuck. By the way, we have WoofVoBUD giving me $50. Thank you. Appreciate it, like, really a lot. That's awesome. Yeah. Gotta flip it sometime. Okay, so Jess is coming back on what happens when she wakes up from these encounters with the Grace, and she's saying that they hijack my dreams and paralyze me. I wake up paralyzed and feel them praying, my mouth open, then I feel drugged and everything is floral green and pink. That's what happens. Okay, so that's definitely not good. I would wonder if it's happening to your astral body or the physical one more, but it's definitely happening. Paralyzed, praying, mouth open. One thing I could you could try doing, Jess, is if you remember these beings that have been visiting you, like the Grace, like how they look like, how many there are and all. I would try sort of like thinking like, okay, this is a specific group, but who's their boss? Like you can literally like visualize them and think of their little spaceship exploding, or like try to look above, like who's above them, who's in control of them. Because, like, literally going after the hierarchy is the best thing you can try doing. But yeah, like, it's a lot to it. Ah, so there's a lot of science about the fingers, huh? Okay, so I'm like so just like scrolling down, reading your comments and questions now. Okay, so it's like Andromeda's asking, like, Akvile, if someone doesn't have soul contract, belief system, or any kind, does that mean that he or she is on a mission? Not necessarily. You can literally be just like exploring and just having fun. You don't necessarily need to be on a mission just because you don't have like a certain contract and stuff. And just because you have a contract doesn't either mean that you're on a mission. It's more like those like soul contracts are more of a traps and like limiting beliefs or like just like things to stop you. Belief systems, they're okay. It doesn't matter. Like just like creates your reality and helps you to experience certain things. So not having any of those is okay. Having those are okay as well. So yeah. Daniel Red is saying, when I had my visuals in 2017, I was vegan for 3 months. That's good. Good to know. And Starseed is asking, like, when you eat food and get clusters, will the clusters go away? And is this why others say that food makes you moody? It would be part of it. It would be part of it. Like, literally, it depends, because sometimes people who are more sensitive, how do you say? If the animal is killed and like really has been suffering and there's a lot of the stuff that's going on in the slaughterhouses and stuff, and you eat the meat, you literally can feel the being and the pain. So like you just eat it, like yeah, cool, but at the same time the pain sort of comes within, and all of a sudden, like after a while, you're gonna feel like kind of like depressed or not that happy. So it has some of the emotional carryover, like a little bit, and at the same time, entities that might come with the food. It's gonna stay. It's not like they're like, hi, we're just gonna stay here for a while and then move away. Like you would have to actually remove them. Like, it's a rare case that would like. Sometimes entities jump away from you. Sometimes if you wake them up, they're gonna leave. But it's more like you have to do something about it because they start like, yeah, bye now, and we're gonna say and leave and stuff like that. So, they're just not gonna go away by themselves that easily. Where's my wire? Oh, there it is. I'm out of my tea, so I have to use water. Which is awesome. Joe Stewart is asking, what do you think is going on or in Mars? And I think there was a colony there in the Space Force bringing people home who want to come back to Earth. Yeah, so like regarding Mars, I have not checked out that much. There's definitely like there's plenty of bases within Mars as well. There's definitely like a lot of life there still. Secret Space Program and other people might be definitely involved. Like it's too easy to go on missions and just like another place for more like trading and like just doing like, let's say it's one of those stops for going somewhere else. But yeah, like I have not recently, like I could not comment much about like it's Space Force bringing people back home, but I would like to read up on it and then like see like look more into this, so to speak. So yeah. Dimensional is asking, like, does the concept of consciousness change in the astral realm? I think you might get a better understanding. You might get like a better view on it, like once you're there, because you will not be affected by your case from Earth. You will not be affected by things that are happening here. So that might be more freeing and like more opening. But I think it's like a lot has to do with what you believe about it already. So it really depends on your experience when you're out there. Slide Sam is asking, like, how do you become fearless? I think, like, for me, like, the thing that, like, have me to be a bit more fearless is just understanding, like, how, like, as a consciousness, you're infinite. Like, this is just, like, one experience, and this is temporarily, like, for the physical body, but the consciousness lives on forever. And just there's tons of experiences out there. So for me, like, knowing about the possibilities out there once the physical body drops dead or once I leave makes me excited. And you know, like death is just one of those things, but like even like things that happen throughout the life, I think like having the perspective and values and like how do you say it? Like yeah, probably the perspective. For example, one of the things that like sort of like helped me from Gary Vaynerchuk is to stop actually giving a damn about small things. And like let's say certain comments like where people like might say things to you and you're like all triggered like you know like it's like for me like just like to be the bigger person like or like to not pay attention on the bad stuff like he's saying like literally like think about the person if you have one that is most important to you in your whole life, and for you it might be your kid, it might be your lover, it might be your parents, like whoever, and someone who means absolutely everything to you. And so like when you get like a bad comment or like let's say you get into this like event where things are triggering, simply think about like the person you love the most dying. And it's like if that loss happened, how much would it affect you? And you're like, well damn, like if that happened, I would not give a fuck about like what just like happened on the chat and stuff. This would be like the only thing I care about, and that would be like crushing. So like if that is so big, why would you care about small stuff? And so for me, like, there's like becoming more fearless, or let's say, not even getting triggered by stuff. It's just like no, like I know my values, and like there's just like no need to get pissed off or like reacting to other things that much. So like just like having different values and sort of perspectives helps. But yeah, I guess there's a lot to it. But like becoming fearless, like I guess like, understanding what brings you the fear. Is it like the fear of the unknown, like what are you afraid of, and like how do you feel about things, and just like learning that you can deal with absolutely everything because you have the power, you can do anything you want, and that is helpful as well. But for me, you know, what are my views on vaccines? Definitely not something I would like to get. I've read an article recently, and there was this thing like I might pull it up for you. But people were saying that it kills female fertility, and there's even more to this. So let's see if we can pull it up. Haha, Facebook censoring the shit. Like fuck you, people. Where is it? Like, no, this is capture. 1 second, wonderful people. Like, where is it? There it is. Wait. That's me. Okay. So, my views on vaccines. So yeah, I'm personally not going for like I feel like I'm against vaccines because you never know what's in them, and they have just like tons of little things they're not gonna tell you all about and all. So yeah, meh. Pretty much, Matthew. Pretty much. Yeah. Okay, so Joe Stewart is asking, do you think the Jupiter-Saturn alignment will have a big impact on our consciousness on the Earth? Um, let's see. Again, like I think like because of our consciousness and like our experience here, it is much more of an adventure and experience, and it might, let's say, open up things energetically, or like there might be other events that we don't know about, like happening in the shadows and affecting people. Let's say with all the fights in the physical universe, there's a lot of fights like destroying, like let's say a dome or like this grid of deception of people sort of ignoring everything. Because like a lot of times like we wonder like why are people not waking up? Like how are they not seeing this stuff? And it's simply there are tons of programs and mechanisms like trying to redirect our thoughts, trying to redirect our attention. Let's say the things that you knew if you did, you would like be successful and your life would change, are the same things that are the hardest to do. And for example, you know, like, well, if I was just to address this thing, if I did this session, if I was to work with this, it would change my life, but at the same time, I really don't want to do it. Like, you just feel this like kind of massive pushback and stuff like that. Like, so like, had you wrote to other person a while ago, like, just stirred up your courage and wrote everything a few years ago, would that change things? Yes. But if you wait out for too long, what's gonna happen? And so like there's a lot of things that can happen in between, and you know like there's like tons of third parties and other programs affecting us every day, like how we feel, what we believe in, how we're doing, like our feeling states and all this stuff is constantly there. So like some of the, you know, like Jupiter Saturn alignment might be part of it, where it's how do you say it, like the dark side like uses a lot of things for the rituals, but at the same time like as the good guys, and like we might say like black magic is a bad thing, but if used indifferently, is it still a black magic if it's helping others? Like you know, like so like white magic, black magic, we're just giving labels, good, bad, right, wrong and stuff like that. But like really depends how you use things. Same as in like people wondering are tarot cards, pendulums and everything is good or bad. You know, like is the money the root of all evil? But like it really depends on who's doing what with it. So there's a lot to it. So like I think it might help, like this Jupiter Saturn might have an impact, but a lot depends with how people are open to it and like how aware are they of those things, and like just like how do they deal with life, you know. So yeah, maybe. So yeah, I think I got up with most of the questions, and it's already become like almost like 3 hours of streaming. So while I still have some of the group of people watching, on like today's already Wednesday for me. Okay, like I'm still on track. But like on Thursday, this is when the Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. Because of Yuri and this massive donation, I did buy Cyberpunk 2077. It's in Steam, it's installed and ready to play when it's out. So we'll be streaming that thing. We'll be streaming Cyberpunk on Thursday. Apart from that, I am considering doing maybe some classes, or let's say maybe spending the weekend, or we'll see. But like doing soul contract removal on stream maybe help you out. Like just go through the steps and see if we can maybe like you pick out one of the issues and we would address it together. Maybe I would have some of you live with me, and I could just like help you do the session and guide you while others watch. So like lots of possibilities. If you people would like to do something like this, let me know. We can totally arrange that. Apart from that, like I'm just like really happy I can talk to you people, and like there's so many of you watching and listening and like being interested. So I just like want to do my best to give you tools and teach you or help you or just make any kind of impact that's like good for you. So yeah. That being said, I guess we're gonna wrap it up for today, because like after a minute, a little bit for me, and we'll go from there. So Hey everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending so much time with me and being part of this group and experience. And I will see you next time. I think like I want to stream more often because it's something fun to do, and if I can give you a little bit of value every day, or every day be there to empower you, or say something that will maybe make a little impact in your life, I'm up for that. So, hey, thank you for being here. I will see you soon. Next time I'll keep making more videos. If you ever have topics you want me to talk about, just leave that in the comments. Not maybe here live stream, but like under other videos, or like write me emails, and I'm all up for that. So that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.